What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Great Lakes Outdoors podcast. Me and Fonzie are sitting here with three-time champ of coming back on now, Paul
Hinman.
Paul Hinman. So, Glenn, we didn't make fun of him this time, if you're listening, but maybe the next time on the fourth time.
Maybe we'll get him.
Paul, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just coming off of turkey season, fishing season, softball season. Now it's summertime. Now it's the countdown till September.
Time to drive us all crazy.
Yeah.
The great lull, I call it.
Yeah.
I hate it, man. The first week this heat rolled in, I was like, man, you got to be kidding me right now.
I know.
I'm so glad I don't work outside anymore. I'll tell you that much. I feel so bad. Like, I walk outside and I'm like, man, it's hot out. And I'm walking like less than a block away to my truck. And it's like, dude, I used to go home after working outside all day, cut the grass, do whatever outside. Like, it was fine to me. Now I can't even step outside and not complain about it. Like, I feel like you know what with it all. You know, it's bad.
We just turned the AC on at the house on Sunday. That was the first time all year.
Wow.
I was like, now I'm like walking. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Just pass right out basically when you feel that.
Yeah.
That's what sucks with, you guys might hear a little bit of commotion going on in the room besides the talking. We have two fans going on right now because it is hot as balls in this room right now. And it's not that fun.
Understatement.
I'll tell you what, though, it was hotter the other day, I feel like.
Yeah, it was way hotter the other day.
I mean, I swear it was mid-90s.
I was
just
shirtless,
stagnant.
man, just sitting here. I was like,
so
like a dog.
The whole Zoom situation would have been not good.
Yeah,
that
no,
day.
I was panting. Yeah, hot.
What do they call it? Naked by noon.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
so hot. It's so hot.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Just sitting in the house in your boxer shorts.
It almost got to that point. Not trying to be weird with Fonzie here, just me and him in a small room sitting in our boxers, but it is what it is.
Sorry, Sid and Lou.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
That's it.
But we're just getting, I mean, turkey season is probably the latest season that kind of just got out. I mean, fishing, my dad just went out this morning. They got a limit out in the lake. So, I mean, fishing's still going on.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think goes on year round around where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the jig bite in the Detroit River
right.
is been over with. And it ended soon this year. The
It
weather
was
heated
weird,
up.
Man.
The weather heated up and the water heated up.
Fast.
The full moon opening weekend of turkey season.
Mm-hmm.
After that, dunzo, it sounded like.
We still caught quite a few both trips a couple trips that we went up there. We were more up by Wyandotte and up by the Gordie Howe, but we were catching them up there.
See, I haven't fished up there at all.
No.
I feel like I need to because I've been hearing still people to this day crawler harnesses.
Oh, those, yeah.
Hammered them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll troll around with them.
Yeah.
Hand lining and trolling with crawler harnesses.
Hand lining, I've been saying for a while now, even turkey season, because I was able to be off for a while. Oh, this week we're going to get out hand lining because I got my boat set up with it all. I mean, it might only go 12 miles an hour, but it gets us out there. And we just never did it. And then once the weeds come in, it just even gets harder to do.
Yeah.
And then all the big boats, just tough. Yeah. But so the fishing season went good for you though?
Yeah. We caught our limits most every day that we went out. There was a couple big wind days that made it tough. My brother, who's a charter boat captain, I was shameless plug here, but Walter Cation, sport fishing. He
soon to be on the podcast. Hopefully.
Yeah. And he went out every day, and I think he limited out every day. But he is a fish whisperer, and he's in tune with it, and he does a really good job of it.
I'm into the fishing, but as soon as turkey hits, man, I'm full bore.
I'm torn. It's there's nothing to me that gets me more fired up than turkeys gobbling but yeah,
Well, especially this year is your first year with the new boat.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a whole different aspect of it.
I don't even know what kind of boat.
It's a 20-foot polar craft with a 175 Suzuki on the back.
You can't beat a polar craft boat. I always say that about polar craft. And it's sad they
Center
stopped
console.
making them.
So
yeah, they went out of business.
It's the same boat that Jake has,
Center console though,
but it's a center console.
Got it.
So that wide of a boat, all of that stuff. Like what is it? Like 6 foot wide?
I think it's 8 foot at the beam.
8 foot. So it's 8 foot.
Holy moly, that's a big boat.
Yeah.
But
That's good
center
size,
console
man.
because Jake's is a tiller.
Yeah.
But yeah, just center console.
Yeah.
I think he's got a 90 on the back, but that thing rips, man.
Oh yeah, I have never even topped this thing out yet.
Really?
Yeah, I got up to 40.
You don't
miles.
need to.
I got up to 40 miles an hour. I was like, done.
Yeah.
Hey, we're good.
No need.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no need for it.
It's nice to have those just in case.
Yeah,
Just
in case a big storm blows in and you can
Oh,
get off
yeah,
the
you
water
gotta
real
get the
quick.
hell out of there.
But
I'll tell you what, there was one day we were fishing up there with Troy. My buddy Troy Stokes. He does like the fishing aspect of on the podcast. He got his motor like worked on or whatever it may have been. We went out with this bass boat on a south wind up in Wyandotte. This is probably honestly the last time I've been up in Wyandotte. And I'm like, man, it's south wind, but downriver it's going to be bad, but upriver it should be fine. Like it's not going to be that bad. I'm telling you, I'm surprised we didn't sink that boat. We steered so many ways. It was horrible, man. I'm wearing my big Carhartt, so I'm just
Eating water,
you're about 80 pounds heavier now.
holding water.
probably even worse because I was 80 pounds heavier after that turkey hunt, which we'll talk about, because that was horrible, man.
Oh yeah,
That was horrible. And Alex, you're so lucky you
Lucky I
weren't there,
missed it,
man.
man.
You're
Yeah.
so lucky.
And I truly set my alarm for like 4 p.m. instead of a.m.
Because
I never do that, and I did that, and I'm like, that's a calling from God.
dude, it was bad, man. Like
it was lightning, and we were sitting over there, and it didn't hit.
Because that was bad. I
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
we met up in the
It was
morning.
gnarly, yeah.
I
After.
mean, we'll jump right into it. We met up in the morning at the farm, and I was like,
We
well,
debated
just,
taking a tent or the blind.
Yep.
we had it in my truck.
I remember Kyle saying that.
And yeah, we debated on it, and we're like, no, it's only going to rain a little bit because it sprinkled a little bit on the way out to the farm. And so we get in the truck, we could drive out there. No rain, no nothing. We're all situated. I told Paul, like, you know, where the birds kind of were the morning or the night after, kind of what I was seeing. We get out there, we get all situated. In my opinion, one of the, like a perfect hide, besides like direct front cover, but like the sides, the overhang, the shadows, like it was a
We were in a
perfect
fence
hide.
row, and it had good vegetation coming up all around it. Yeah,
It was perfect. Next thing you know, it's raining upside down on us.
it's like that Forrest Gump. It was raining sideways.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like it was. We couldn't even see across the field. It was the same field you shot your bird in.
Yeah, yep.
So, what? 300-400 yards wide, which isn't a huge field. Maybe.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, it was at least probably 300 yards.
It's the same
So
thing,
it's not a huge field or anything by
no.
any means. We couldn't even see across the thing.
No, you could see the lightning across it.
Well, because at one point, me and Paul looked at each other and were like, there might be a tornado pretty dang close to us right now.
Because it was blowing too.
Yeah.
And it knocked, when we got out, it knocked all the cover down that was in front of us.
Really?
The rain and the wind and everything. There was not a stitch of vegetation left.
That was the hardest part. Even the overhang was like blown upward. So like Paul's got the rain gear on.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Water resistant is what it
I
is.
found the resistant part real quick.
And here I am with the DSD cloth bag over my head trying to stay somewhat dry.
Right.
And next thing you know, I look to my left and there's a big tom turkey sitting right in the field.
Yeah.
That's sat there for a half hour.
That was the strangest. I mean,
That's wild.
was
That's strange.
Very weird.
Don't you think they'd go up in a tree and roost and like
No,
hang out?
no, he was roosted.
Oh,
He
okay.
pitched down.
never made a noise.
Yeah.
But I mean, we probably wouldn't have heard it anyway.
Yeah.
Because
No.
the wind was so bad.
I'm saying in general, like with a storm like that going on.
I would have thought they would hung up there a little
Hung
bit
up
longer.
there, man.
Well, yeah, because it was what 6 o'clock or
It was
something
6:30
when you shot that.
Yeah.
Oh my! It was that early.
Yeah, it was that fast. Like when
Thunder.
He probably came out about 6:05, 6:10 when we spotted him.
yeah,
And then he was just beelining right for the decoys. So I never made a call. You never made a call.
just stopped.
And he stopped about 80 yards out there. And it was like he almost fell asleep standing out there.
And then
Didn't
I was
move.
like, he was not
What a
intrigued
sicko.
at all. He tried to like turn around on us,
Yeah.
like trying to go the other way on us. Like
I hit him with a couple calls and he spun around and stood there again. And then,
the other birds gobbled.
yeah, and he stood there for another about 5 minutes just kind of eyeballing. He'd start to take a little lean and I'd yelp at him again and he'd spin back around. And then with 2 or 3 of them behind us sounded off. And then he was like, boom, 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 boom. And he was in. And you were turned around back looking the other way.
So we hear the first gobble that I hear, it sounded like it was right on the corner of the woods.
Yeah.
And if he's gobbling and this bird's been standing there for 25 minutes, not moving. Well, this bird's probably going to come running.
He's going to come. Oh, he's ready to go.
We're not going to see him.
Yeah.
So I'm looking. I'm like, hey, just let me know if he's coming. So I'm sitting there, and next thing you know, I hear Paul say, what I thought at the time was, here he comes. Yeah. So I slowly turn, because I don't know if you remember this or not, but it sounded like something was like right behind us, like feet away from us. I thought another turkey. It sounded just like a turkey walking through like leaves, which
wet
they weren't.
Leaves.
Yeah, wet leaves. So I'm trying not to move from that, but I'm trying to like turn slowly, and I can't find the bird anywhere. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, where did this bird go? Where is it supposedly coming into? Because I can't see it. Well, I had one little branch coming down in front of me, and next thing you know, boom! I'm like, what are you shooting at right now, man? And it was like comical where I slowly like turned over. I see the bird flopping in the decoys. I'm like, sweet, man. I couldn't even get that on video. Or
I told him, I said, here he comes. And he got within 15, 20 yards, and he picks his head up, and I'm like, well, he's going to booger out one.
And we felt so bad for that dang bird after that, just because how bad it looked, man.
It was it looked like a wet dog.
Gorgeous. I mean, yeah. Because I seen him the night before, because I told Paul while we were walking in that, you know, the field that we were hunting, there's a little, you were there, that little finger patch that sticks out in the middle of the field. I was like, you know, there's a good possibility there's a bird roosted in that spot, where I only seen one other bird do that. Sure as shit, he flew right out of that tree line right there, and we thought all the other, like, at first we thought all the birds were roosted where where they were gobbling on the roost with yours. Never really
on that back tree line, right?
On that back ditch line back there, yeah. And here he comes, and I think they ended up shooting one other bird off of that field too. So I'm kind of curious on how it's going to be next year.
Yeah.
Because we seen birds out there after the fact too, and it's just like
there was 2 or 3 out there when we rolled back by a little bit later.
You shoot with the birds in the area. I really take into consideration how many birds in one area that we're killing, just because of the fact that I want it for future.
Yeah, you got to leave some for seed.
And that's the hardest part to explain to people, because they're so shot hungry, like they're so hungry to just pull the trigger. And if you got one time, like Travis's buddy, he had one time on his property. Well, he started off anyway, not hunting that piece, just because he's like, hey, like, I got one time on there. I don't want to shoot this one time, let him breed the hens. He ended up hunting it later in the year when he, was breeding the hens, and next thing you know, more and more toms started showing up. But like, you got to just be so smart with that. It's not like waterfowl where they're flying in; they're there.
Yeah, and I just feel like even letting one of those toms go, or 2 or 3, or whatever it may have you, you're just going to increase those chances by you're going to increase that next year's brood by so freaking much.
And that's where, as a hunter, you become a conservationist too.
100%.
All day long.
Because it could be easy. It could be you could have went in there and killed all 6, 7 toms in there, and had good success at every one of them and killed them all. But as the conservationist that we all try to be, we're killing things. But I mean, I put out wood dock boxes. I do all the things I can do, and I trap raccoons and all that stuff. So leaving them to breed is another part of being a hunter too.
100%. There was a guy. I'm gonna give you a quick story. I was up north by Stanwood, and there was a mama, and probably she had like 15 baby turkeys, and this guy behind me was in a big diesel, and he was gonna just wheel through this. So I turned, and I put my truck sideways. Ballsy move for turkeys, but I did it. I put it sideways. I saw him coming in my rear view, and I said, you know what, screw it, and I just hooked it left. I put it, and he couldn't get through, and I let him all cross the road. You know what I mean? That stuff, for me to watch him get smoked like that, I'm like, what are you doing?
There's a different passion I have for turkeys, and I don't do enough, and nor do I know a single person that does enough for the population of them, like with the predator side of everything.
That, too, is a whole beast in its own.
But the turkeys, I just have so much respect for them, where, like, that field, the guy ended up riding the four-wheeler in. Yeah. That lady stopped me, and she's like, oh, I love the turkeys. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to let you know you're not going to find somebody that loves turkeys more than I do. Like, I understand that you think they're beautiful birds.
Right.
I could promise you, though, that I think 10 times higher than you do about these birds.
Yeah.
Even though we're going out there to hunt them,
Yeah.
the appreciation I have is unmatched.
Well, I mean, just as hunters, the amount of, just if you're a hunter, everything you pay for, the shells, the gun, all that stuff, the Pittman Act, whatever it is, Pittman Act, like a percentage of the sales tax goes to the Pittman Roberts Act, right? So you buy the duck stamp, right, which is $25-$30 now, right? Your state licenses, all these things, like all the stuff that you put into it, and I'm not bashing bird lovers or animal lovers or anything like that, but they don't put the money in it that we do, like for the most part.
How do you feel about with you being a photographer and soon to be a videographer? Not that you're not already, but with people going on to like what is it, DNR locations or the units per se for around this area, and not having to pay like a stamp when everybody else has to be able to access those areas.
I think anybody that uses those areas should have to pay just like we do.
100%.
You know, a season pass. Like if you go to a park, like let's say you go to Kensington Metro Park or Stony Park or whatever it is, you have to pay a daily pass or you have to pay for a yearly pass, right? So why not charge those people that? And that can go back into habitat management. That could go back into hiring another biologist or anything like that. Thursday night, last night, we were at, Glenn and I were at a DU banquet in St. Clair Shores.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It went well, but the attendance was low. I don't know if it was just because of the time of year or what the deal was, but it was a little bit lower than average. But the regional director, Southeastern Michigan regional director, went up to Alberta and Manitoba and went in the Prairie Pothole regions. And they had all these biologists up there, and they're like, well, what do you do for DU? He's like, well, I'm the regional director of Southeast Michigan. I raise funds for this, that, and the other thing. And like, so what do you do? They had no clue that this guy is raising money for Ducks Unlimited to pay for their job up there.
Right.
There's that much of a disconnect?
Yeah. There's that much of a disconnect. So then the next couple of days he was saying that they had a meeting of like the pyramid of how it all goes, and then they had a better understanding of what
the hierarchy, not hierarchy, but the structure.
Because if there's not people like him raising these funds for Ducks Unlimited, they don't have a job, or they don't have the funding that they need to do their job.
And that's a huge thing where not just waterfowl hunters or like the DU, like across the board, all sorts of or all types of hunting, like what's the word I'm looking for? Just the knowledge that people have towards the stuff. Like nobody's teaching anybody this. They just think that getting out, pulling the trigger, and then that's it. Like nobody's behind the funding. Nobody's like there to put those boxes up. They just think it's all free and whatever it may be. Not a lot of people understand what goes on.
The whole behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Like Delta Waterfowl, I go to their banquets. I went to their banquet in Wisconsin this year. Dropped. And this is the only time I think my girlfriend will let me drop like $600-$700 in one setting. And I did. I dropped $600 for the gun of the year. It's almost a $3,000 gun.
Did you win it?
But no, not at all. And I knew I wasn't going to, but I'm like, this all goes back into what I love to do, and it goes back into protecting what we love to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all going for a good cause,
Just, and it goes back to a topic that we stopped talking about before this podcast is like the generational thing where people just look further into it. They don't look to give back. They don't look to do anything extra besides, like I said, pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger, and that's it. And I'm like, even if I can't get out there physically to do the things that they're doing, put hen houses and wood duck boxes and all that kind of stuff, if I can't get out there and physically do it, here's my money for you guys to go do it. Yeah. Here's you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. So,
no, and that's a great way to look at it, because there's only, we all have jobs, we all have this, and there's people that are dedicated to that. And so even though I can't get out there and do it, here's some money to pay for the hen houses or the wood duck boxes or anything that they need for those projects.
I mean, that might be a whole nother topic in itself too, without putting anybody in the spot now, but for a different podcast to where it's like the DU, like the head guys for the DUs in the areas, but how to reach out to more people to make them understand where your money's going to, or the photographers that are out there that are just the bird watchers to understand, like, hey, just because we're hunters doesn't mean that we're not giving back, and kind of break it down for people, I guess, in a sense, you know.
What I liked about Delta is they had like dinner mats, like the ones you'll get a Big Boy for the kids, like that. Like they had those, but they had a pie chart breakdown of everything that the money goes towards.
Oh. Did they give you crayons too, or no?
No,
they were afraid you might eat them.
Yeah, right. I was gonna.
They weren't flavored.
Crush them up and snort them.
Yeah,
but I liked that. I respected the hell out of that because. And they had such a good turnout. I think it was the most they've ever had at that chapter, and it was like 300 something people.
Oh,
see, no,
that was huge.
That's awesome, and it goes back to even like the predator aspect of it all. Like people aren't trapping anymore like they used to. Well, and I always forget the name, like the Fur Bearer of Michigan or whatever.
Michigan Trappers Association.
Michigan Trappers Association.
I don't know how I forget that, but why not have dinners for those guys to be able to, you know, push the trapping more like it used to be? Like it shouldn't be a person where you go to bring your pelts to, like push the trapping and push everything towards it all,
right?
Instead of complaining about, and not saying that they're complaining, but losing like the sport. Like trapping alone is like just gone, it seems like,
because there's no money in it, and now it's more of a hobby thing, and then it's like you know, a couple of years that my son and I did it, it was more of a less to kind of teach him how to do it and to kind of see where, you know, where it is, how hard it is, you know, because you think about it, to have an animal that can roam anywhere in there, have them step on a little 3-inch pan,
tiny little,
you got them neck down. That it might be one of the trickiest things, especially a coyote.
Oh yeah,
Coyotes are some of the
smartest.
They will make you pull your hair out. Like I've had them dig up traps. You know,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They sense something in there, and they'll flip it up. And next thing you know, you come up and you're, oh man, you know. And then so you set one there, and then you set another one over on the other side, trying to see if he doesn't sense that one, and he'll dig that one up too. And you're like, you little.
Well, but like
I don't get it. Yeah, they're
I mean,
ridiculous.
I understand that it's not money into it, but like, why not have more tournaments involved, like with coons or coyotes, or like have dinners to be able to like to support that and have backing towards it all, like the DU has. Why is there no
professionally structured
dinners or
professionally structured dinners? Some, you know what I mean? Not because I've gotten into the ones where it's like Facebook. You know, a buddy of a buddy's like, hey man, you want to do this coon hunting tournament? It's like, yeah, we'll do it, but it's like, why can't there be professionally structured?
Right.
You know, put a budget aside for it with the government. You know, I mean, it's not.
But and the thing too is like, I don't know. I can't speak now, but a few 10, 15, 20 years ago, the managed areas, you can go in there and trap them. You just have to get a permit. And then they would have one person. And you, as a one person, you could not trap the whole refuge system, right? Like the muskrats are some of the biggest problems to the water structures in these managed areas. They'll bore them out, and then they wash out the dike that holds the water in them.
I got to tell you a funny story.
You know what I'm saying?
Muskrats.
So these muskrats are problematic to these places, and they, dude, everywhere you go. I mean, I'll just use Fish Point for example. You can drive down the road in between the refuge and the other side there with the 20s, and you'll count 15 muskrats just eating grass on the side of the road.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're horrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna get. You know what? I was telling him last week. So my girl grew up trapping with her dad, hardcore. He's a big trapper, and that's her favorite thing to do. Our family's gonna heavily, now that I'm back home, we're getting back into it heavy.
Well,
I would love to learn.
It's gonna be the best thing that we could possibly do.
Yeah.
If we want to keep seeing growth in the turkeys around our area.
Yeah.
Especially because I think we just talked about this the other day. 8 to 10 years ago ish, right around there, they just planted those turkeys where we hunted, and you can like in one location. Not saying that there wasn't birds out there already, but you can see how much it's grown. It seems like every single field that you drive by, it's almost a turkey into it.
Yep.
You know,
and the ducks too. Like I said,
I mean, it goes
3-to-1 ratio right now, drakes to hens, and it's
which is crazy to believe.
Yeah,
they have. I think it was a turkey nest. They put a trail camera on one time and a hen mallard nest, and within 3 or 4 days of the turkey laying her eggs, raccoons came in and got it.
Yep.
They'll smell it, or a skunk. Those are some of the worst for all your ground nesting birds, your quail, your grouse, your turkeys, your ducks, your geese. Geese have it easier. They'll fend off a coon. Yeah, they'll fend off a coon pretty easily. Mink too. Mink are terrible on waterfowl. Snakes, they'll eat the eggs.
It goes back to though that it's just like we talked about the scouting and the behind the scenes part of just the hunting in general. Everybody wants to complain about when a hunt's not good enough or coon problems or coyote problems or whatever it may be. Nobody wants to put that extra work in and actually make a difference out there. That's the problem.
And I really don't think you can eradicate raccoons. I mean, you just have to control them.
There's no way.
You probably can't, and that's the hardest part too, which I do understand this. There's people out there that, they have to go 2-3 hours to get to their property. And with trapping at 24 hours, you got to check your trap. So, I mean, like, those circumstances, I understand. But with the local guys, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the farmers don't care about you going out there and trapping. You're not pulling a trigger, you're not pulling nothing. Like, there's no liability.
You're just
really
running
involved.
blinds.
Yeah.
But just go out there and ask about trapping wise.
Yeah.
I mean, just go out there and see what happens.
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot behind that.
I had one steal my duck last year off my Momarsh blind. Last year off my Momarsh blind.
Coon?
Yep. My buddy turned. You don't know him, Kyle, but we were hunting over here around here, and he turned around. I go, dude, your duck's not dead. He goes, it's gone. It's going through the weeds. I go, what? It's stone cold dead when I shot it. When I picked it up, it's stone cold dead. No, it's going through the weeds, and I saw a tail end of the green. So I start running after it with my gun. I look, and a coon's got it in his mouth.
What?
Yep. Like, how ballsy. I got my dog there. I got my buddy there.
He was hungry.
I guess so.
Yeah, like full blown. Like, had no qualms about going. And we're both sitting in between the dog. Me and him are sitting in between the dog. He came right up on us and grabbed that thing and started running off with it. Like,
oh, sneaky sucker.
Yeah, it makes me want to go put traps out so bad. Because, like, if he's going to do that, what do you think he's going to do to a hen mallard sitting on a nest?
Well, you know what I didn't really know either, though, was crows. Mallard nests.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
and they're
and
so
turkeys
smart.
too, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Crows are smart.
Possums.
Possums too, and it's so hard because like they always talk about like I think we talked about this with the possums, like eating ticks and whatnot.
Yeah,
I've seen conflicting reports about that. Like they don't really eat the ticks, and then I've seen some that say they do, and it's just like I hate ticks, so I hate them more than possums. But so what do we do? I'd like to see real definitive answers on that.
And I don't know if it was it me and you, Fonz, talking about the possums. We just had a
tick
guy on here. His whole life revolves around ticks. Don't understand it one bit. Like he's buying ticks, sending it to his house to
study them. I said more the merrier. If you want to get good at your craft, you got to do stuff like that.
That part I agree, but buying ticks and bringing it to your own house, I'm gonna pass on that.
Right.
I'm not coming over for dinner.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Like that.
You look down at your leg, it's just
insane.
a giant freaking quarter hanging off your leg.
Man, but like what he was saying though about like the possums, it was very controversial, like with it all, and I want to say what he brought up was that the possums don't eat as many ticks as people assume that they do. Because then you could say the same thing about like birds and stuff picking them up.
Yeah.
It's kind of just one of those things where if it's there, it's there. They're not out there, in my opinion, they're not out there searching for them.
Right.
I tell you, the best thing for ticks are yard chickens.
Guinea fowl, chickens.
Yeah.
That
guinea fowl.
Paul, one of the property owners. I think you went there with all the goats in the backyard. I know you've been.
Oh
there.
yeah.
You went there, right, Paul?
Was that with Goodman?
With all the goats and the
was that with Goodman that day?
Had where Goodman shot his turkey at.
Yeah. Then yeah.
He said that he couldn't walk to the barn to the house without getting at least 10 on him. He bought guinea fowl and he said he could roll around that backyard naked and be okay now. I don't want to see him naked. I'm just going to trust his word on that. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. But all in all, though, your turkey season this year. Going back to it a little bit.
So I had a lot of encounters. I don't know about you, but I felt like this spring, there wasn't as much gobbling in the morning. I don't know if it was the same for you, but it seemed like they would gobble a little bit on the roost, fly down, and just shut up.
We had the same thing in Wisconsin, so I agree from what I saw in Wisconsin.
It's hard to say for me because there was properties that I agree with that on, but there's also properties that there's like it was insane in the morning. Like there was one specific where all the mosquitoes were and where we walked all the way back to the third field.
Oh yeah,
that piece, like it seemed like the birds were flocked up all year round. Like the videos that you guys both seen with the 5 coming in for my sister, it was that whole flock the entire year. It was never broken up with a couple of jakes here and there, a tom or two here and there. It was like just that main group with the hens, the jakes, everything just all together. And it seemed like they might gobble. Like it was hard to get them to gobble like the night before even, where some properties, I mean, you'll get them to go absolutely crazy. And of course, there's other properties that we had that they hear tires on the road and they're shutting right up and they know the game, you know. But it wasn't bad for us though, honestly.
But about 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock, I would make a call and I would strike one up every time. And after hunting this bird for a while, I wasn't able to get him this year.
What was his nickname again?
Vaseline.
Yeah.
Because he was slicker than grease, man. That guy, so I found where he was roosting. He roosted in the same spot every time. So first day, I sat overlooking this food plot, and he was 50 yards. I could see him in the tree. Every time he'd shake or gobble, the limb would shake. And I'm just like, oh, he's coming out here. And then, boom, pitch down, go the other way. I'm like, all right, I got you.
Slippery bastard.
Set up on the other side of the
Yeah. So the next morning, I set up in the woods where he was pitching down.
Yeah.
He went into the food plot. And now I got in there so early that morning that I snuck in there. And I was 30 yards from his roost. And I knew exactly what he was going to do. Well, I thought I did.
Yeah.
You know.
No kidding.
And I turned on the thermocell, and I literally got in there at 4 a.m. and sat there until daylight, it was early in the season, so it was probably about 6:30 before it got there.
Yeah.
I mean, I went in with ninja skills.
He's flying down maybe around 7-ish around.
He's about 6:30. He would start, but about 6 o'clock, he would start gobbling on the limb, and the next morning, boom, went down in the food plot. And then he would go off to the northeast on a neighbor's property, which we couldn't hunt. So about 10:30, I'd hit him. He'd come gobbling back, just coming in. And then he would come to the edge. I'd see him. He'd look at the decoys. He'd gobble, strut, do his whole thing.
Fuck that.
And he was like, not today. Yep. And he was gone. And then, so the next morning I get out there. I'm like, all right, I'm going back to the food plot. Pitches down in the woods. Same thing. I got in there. I mean, it was dark. No flashlight, nothing. Got in there. He didn't know I was there. I didn't even make a sound. I didn't even make a call. And so I'm just waiting for him to do his thing. And every day he came in. So the one day he came in, got down to the edge of this lane, and I see him out there, and he turns, and he's coming. And I'm like, oh, you messed up today.
Are you calling at that point?
Yeah, because it was 10:30.
Okay.
And I struck him up coming back from that private field, and or the neighbor's field. And I said, oh, you slipped up today. And I wasn't actually in a blind. And get the gun out, sitting it out the window, and he's probably out there, I don't know, 80, 90 yards down at the end of the trail. And he's coming, and he's just gobbling, hammering. I'm like, and he's just putting on that show, he's just taking his sweet time. And all of a sudden,
Gone.
I haven't moved. He takes off. And I'm like, you dirty man. Like, what is your
He
problem?
looks at you, he goes, you thought.
Yeah. And so about 5 minutes later, 3 jakes come running up the thing. So that was later in the season. So my guess is he saw those jakes. And
Getting beat up.
Yeah, he didn't want to get beat up. And the next time I hunted him, I got the closest I had to him. And he never even knew I was there, but he was 50 yards. And I don't really like to shoot him that far. And I had 20 gauge, and
Yeah.
that's why I start shooting. And I don't want to sound like a purist or anything, but I want him to get close.
Yeah.
So if I have a 12 gauge, I know I can shoot him at 50 yards, but that's no fun. I mean, that takes the fun away from me.
It's just like another conservation kind of aspect of it all. Like
Right.
you want to be able to trick that bird. Like because I'm the same way. Like I want him in my lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't want them 50 yards. I could shoot them that far, but I want them here. I want to like feel that gobble.
Yeah.
Trick
them.
There's
you
no,
fooled them.
It's like shooting a deer with a 30-06 that it's 100, 200, 300 yards away or whatever it is. It's like, okay, he probably smelt you 3 hours ago.
Right.
Is running away from you, but you're still shot him. It's just like, I want him here, not back there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't have pictured my hunt any more perfect. That was like how I've always wanted to shoot a turkey.
Yours is nuts this year.
I think about that all the time. I'm hooked now. That was my second turkey I've ever shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I just pretty much a waterfowl hunter. But
Did you hear this story or no?
I think you told me, but go ahead.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like he was behind us at like 70, 80 yards.
You got to start in the beginning though.
What's that?
Oh, I'll start it off for you. So that morning, I think I had to wake you up. No.
Probably not. Not for that.
This sounds like a reoccurring theme.
No, not at all. Ask anybody I hunt with.
Something happened in the morning where we drove separate, and then we had to. You met us there, but then you were running because I remember you were running a little bit.
I think
late.
I went to the wrong because you said there's a little cut, and I was on the road and I didn't know where the cut was or something like that.
Something happened where I got there, and then next thing you know, another truck pulls up, and I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't Fonzie. Like, what the heck's going on? Well, the guy pulls up behind, like on the side of us, doesn't roll his windows down. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of getting super weird. A couple minutes later, Fonz rolls up finally. Windows still aren't down from this guy. I finally get out of the truck, which is probably a dumb move, not like knowing who this guy was. And he was gung-ho on hunting this spot. He asked us where we're hunting at. I told him this back piece and just would not let it go. He's asking me if I'm family, this, that, and the other. Come to find out, he's what? Like,
it's like friend of a friend of a friend who got
that's family or something along those lines. I'm like, hey, man, like, you can hunt over here. This is his field, too. Like, you remember that big wheat field, like, right across the field? Opposite side from where we hunted at.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I've been seeing a lot of birds out there. Wouldn't be a bad spot to hunt. He's like, nope, I'm hunting this field and this field only. Whatever. I'm hunting this field because I started getting real frustrated with him because if you get beat, you get beat. You know, it's just is.
He
what
didn't
it
give
is.
a hoot either. I got out of the truck because I saw Kyle and I knew something wasn't right. So I stood there and I just had my arms crossed. I'm standing there and he won't look up at me. He's being arrogant. You know what I'm saying?
I don't get frustrated a lot.
But he wouldn't even look up and talk. Like he was just being an ass.
He was getting to the point where I'm like, listen, man, like, you got beat. I don't mean to be this way, but get out of here. Like, the field's not that big enough for two parties to hunt.
Right. And he did. He got beat by time, and that's usually how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
And finally, me and Fonz and Goodman just started walking away. I'm like, I don't care where you hunt. Just don't hunt by us. Like, you can hunt the same field, but you better not be close to us. So he hunted that corner where that bird came from, your bird came from. We hunted the opposite corner. And then you could tell
we had that bird behind us at like 80 yards. And he just, kind of like yours, he just stood there and stopped. But he was gobbling. But he stood there and he just stopped and you could hear him. And I'd look back, same spot, just fanned out, standing there for like 20 minutes. And finally I look back again, real slow, and he's gone. And he's calling. So I know, I'm like, well, he's got to be moving towards a call. And I look again a little bit to my left, and he's right in the tree line.
He's like 20 yards, not even.
10, 15 yards from us walking to the food plot.
Yeah.
And comes right out, and he sees that decoy, and he runs out, fanned out, starts beating the shit out. I mean, it was picture perfect, right? Yeah. He's drumming, he's gobbling, and gets on that decoy, and he's beating the shit out of the decoy, and he gets the little Jake out of the way, and he's trying to mount the hen, and Kyle's like, I'd take the shot, and I'm like, I want to wait till he was broadside so that I could hit him in the head and not mess the fan up, So he gets broadside up on that, boom. But
and we have to walk right by that guy to walk out of that field.
Yeah.
Right next to him. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. We got to walk right past him.
And Kyle actually told him to go sit where we sat. He goes,
No, I told him to sit where that bird came out at.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And
where that bird came out at is exactly where I told that guy to sit at, and he wouldn't do it.
And he would have shot this beautiful freaking bird. Yeah, I just...
But later in the year, though, too, even, we had a bird around the same area where me and you finally talked about it, and it started to make sense that we had the same problem as Vaseline, where he was hung up 60, 70 yards, would sit there and gobble for an hour.
Yeah.
just wouldn't come in any close. I think it was the 2 days before you came in.
Yeah. Because you were talking about it.
Yeah.
It was with your sister, wasn't it?
It was with my buddy Brandon, DNR officer, and then a guy with Gibraltar Duck Hunters, his son. His son's never shot one, so we took him out there. I seen him roosted the night before and everything, and we couldn't get him to finish. And now talking to you after those 2 hunts, it made sense on what I should have done. But I don't know. I guess that's what kind of keeps me going with it all. Is like to live and learn and build off of that. And that's what keeps me coming back for the turkeys even.
That's like golf. You suck all day and you hit one drive. You just pipe that thing down the center and it's like,
I'm Tiger Woods.
I'm good. I'm actually good.
we playing tomorrow or
yeah,
what?
right. Are we playing tomorrow?
Even though the next 10 shots are slices in the water.
I've said every cuss word and yeah.
I was gonna ask you, Paul, what's your favorite? So, because turkey's obviously new to me. So, what's your favorite dish to make, or what do you do with your turkey? That's something we haven't asked people yet.
Yeah. So everybody likes to do the little turkey poppers or like
Nugs
popcorn.
almost,
Yeah, nuggets. But I use I'll marinate them in Worcestershire sauce, and then I either stir fry them.
Yep.
Or I make fajitas out of it.
Just Worcester sauce?
Yeah.
Really?
Worcester sauce and whatever spices you might like.
Can you say that again?
Worcester sauce.
Okay.
Worcester?
Say it 10 times fast.
Worcester?
Say it 2 times fast.
But, and then, deep frying them's a good way. Cutting them up like you said, little nuggets. But I like to make fajitas or stir fry out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that and jerky is the only 2 ways that I've ever seen people really do anything with
because they
turkeys.
do not taste like a butterball.
No.
So
I found that out this year. We made chicken strips, and I did not do something right.
Well,
so marinate, or if you're gonna do the chicken strips, slice them up and put them in buttermilk for a day in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
That buttermilk somehow draws a little bit of that flavor, that wild flavor out of them.
Yeah.
Of it.
But it doesn't take it all away.
Right.
But it does a little bit.
That's Brandon. He shot his first turkey this year. And I think it was like the first Monday of the season because season opened up Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, I don't think we got one. No.
Sunday was. I don't know what it was down here, but up where we were hunting, it was cold and windy.
What happened Sunday? No, Sunday we didn't get one. Monday we ended up shooting one. I think he shot his on like a Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it was. He's like, man, I'm going to take the legs off of this thing. I'm going to take all this off of it. And I'm like, man, I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't like a chicken or a turkey that you think it is. And time goes on. He's like, man, I didn't tell you this, but them legs were about rubbery as a piece of gum. I was like, yeah, it's all tendons, man. It's all muscle. Like, it's not just...
This ain't Thanksgiving dinner, brother.
This isn't Jerry out back.
Yeah. They're out jumping in the trees and running away from any like predators or whatever it may be. Like it's not like what you think.
Walmart special.
They're not getting injected with steroids or whatever else they're injected with. Yeah.
Get injected with butter.
Whatever, man. It was I don't know.
Cranberry relish.
Whatever it was. I don't know. This turkey season for us, I was super fortunate with the outcome of it all. A lot had to do with the behind the scenes that we've talked about with it all, like with me going out there roosting them or just knowing the lay of the land, because if there's 2 things that I feel like that hurt people the most, it's calling too much and just not understanding the setup of the situation or the area that you're in.
Yeah.
I mean,
no two places hunt the same either.
No.
You can hunt one place and then it works every time, all the time.
Right.
And then you go to a different farm and it doesn't work.
Right.
And it's you have to learn the intricacies of each bird and each area,
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with like the field that my sister missed the second time, which hopefully she doesn't pay attention to this. But the second time she missed, we've hunted that field for, I think this was our 4th year hunting that. And like the last 3 years before this, same spot, 7 o'clock every morning on opening day, turkey was done. Like done deal. And then some years there was 2 birds down by the second day. This year, we had to hunt the very backfield. You've seen where the blind was at, and we've never hunted back there. We've only hunted the one spot. Maybe we would set up down in the river bottoms or whatever it may be, but it was always that one spot was like the key spot for whatever reason. This year is just different, and it's going back to like the homework behind each bird and each year. I mean, everything's different every time.
Things change too, like
growth, whatever.
Yeah, you know, the whatever the crops may be in there. Like, I don't know if that field was planted when we went and took a look at it that one day.
I don't think it.
I think it was tilled, but I think it was. I don't think it was planted yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I mean, that changes a lot of stuff too, and then you know, just different factors can change things. But we used to have a spot, same kind of thing. We called it the killing tree. You sit up next to this huge oak. You could sit 3 people side by side on it. It was that big. You know, it was 200-300-year-old oak, and the same thing every day. They would walk out from this one spot, and they'd go. I mean, it was pretty much deer hunting, but they would come out and they would mill out in front of it. And I mean, you could kill a bird there every time, every day, and they never caught onto it. And I mean, for years, 2-3 years, you could sit. You know, I'm going to the killing tree today. Oh, okay.
I had a spot on the water like that here for duck hunting, and it's just shut off now completely, like 100% completely shut off. And I used to go there, and you could bring 3 guys and shoot a limit.
Yeah.
So do you think everything changes?
Do you think that's pressure out there, or do you think it's just
100% pressure? There's so many, like we've talked about. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I would love for more hunters to be in the world, but younger kids that go out there and watch the TikTok videos and buy Sitka and think that they're Joe Heinz, and they go out there and they get out there like 3 minutes before shooting light, sky bust at everything. Their call sounds like a dying dog. I think that has a lot to do with it because we're seeing a lot more younger hunters in this area, which is great. It's a good thing. I'm not knocking it, but I've always been taught, be a sponge, learn from the older, learn from guys that have been doing it. And a lot of these kids in this generation don't even want to hear what like me or Kyle would have to say. Like, they know more already from YouTube and TikTok versus me and Kyle's field experience.
Which is a whole different area or situation. Like watching videos from Kansas or something crazy.
That's totally unrelatable to hear.
I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of the first things I said to you when you came and hunted with us or with me was, hey, man, I'm not picking up a call. I'm not doing anything this morning. I'm basically driving Miss Daisy around right now, and you're going to do whatever you think's best, and I'm just going to learn off of what you're going to do. Paul's comeback was, you're probably not going to learn much, but go ahead and do whatever you want to do. But, I mean, that's my mentality where, like, I'm trying to learn or soak up. I mean, even if you're taking bits and pieces, like through my whole apprenticeship with work, like I'll take a piece from this guy, a piece from this guy, a piece from this guy.
Make it your own.
And it's my own.
Make your own freaking judgment off of it. Yes.
And what it is, it's hard to do with turkey hunting because, like we said, everything's different. But at the same time, hopefully it all finishes the same way.
Right.
And, you know, you're going to start understanding more and more, maybe just the conversation, like the calling aspect of it all, the hiding aspect of it all, or I don't know. It's just a dying thing in general with hunting.
Like Paul said, like, he said you remind him of a young you. It's like, yeah, of course he was us at our age.
Right.
You know, we're in that stage now, but it's like he's still obsessed with it. He's still doing it. And it's like, you think this guy has no information to offer? He's got the wealth of knowledge to offer, and it's like you could learn it just. Kids were just more open-minded, man. And
you know, it's funny, like you say, every place is you see these videos out in Kansas or whatever, and they get one hunt like that. So the first trip out to North Dakota, we freelanced, right? Mm-hmm. We were going out there a couple years. My buddies still do it. I haven't been able to go out since 15. But the first time we went out there, I find this field, and it is chock full of geese. Mind you, I didn't know they were lessers.
Right.
We're just binocular them from the road, and I'm like, they look like lessers. Well, coming from Michigan, hunting the big old giants.
Yep.
I'm like, we'll set up just like we do every day. We'll slam these birds, right? Done deal. We'd eaten breakfast by 9. Dude, we got our butts kicked by them suckers. Didn't even fire a gun.
Oh, my God.
It was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. They're like, all my buddies are like, oh, look at this guy. He doesn't even know what he's doing. You know, he's some champion caller, and he came calling these geese. I mean, we had like at one point we had like 600-700 in a spin, just spinning. And I'm blowing my lungs out, and they're like, I made out the normal typical giant honker spread. You
Just
basically
family pods
family
everywhere.
pods
Yeah.
in a pocket.
Yeah.
We got our butts kicked, and they're laughing their ass off at me, like, "Oh my gosh, look at you go!
You're
You
throwing
scared
your-
them all away." And I'm like,
Throwing your hat down.
I'm
and
like, what is
cussing
going
and-
on? Well, that was my first interaction with lessers,
Right.
and I'm like, these are a different bird. I'd never ventured out there,
Yeah.
and so the techniques we use here to kill giants and everything do not work out there.
Right.
Do not. So you think you got it all figured out? You go out there, you get your butt kicked.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that goes for even like, in my opinion, where I got roost in this city, I got roost in this city, I got roost, A, B, C, D, E, wherever there's roost at for geese wise. Every single roost is different. Every single flock of birds is different, in my opinion. That's why I'm sitting there for 45 minutes watching the birds, seeing how they're feeding, dissecting what's actually going on. And I feel like that's why a lot of time we're successful with it, because you're putting the time in to actually understand what birds you're actually hunting. Because I with so many subspecies nowadays, if they're smaller geese, I feel like they're right on top of each other. The giant, like the true giants, the locals. And locals, I'll say that within 30, 40 miles away, all coming together, if it's late season with ice, whatever it may be.
Right.
They're kind of more spread out from what I am picking up in my area. And I'm not saying that's going to be the same way for everybody's area.
Right.
Or year to year.
Or year to year. But every year, I'm not looking at it the same as I did last year, or hunting them the same exact way as I did last year. I don't think there was one hunt that we went over 5 dozen decoys this year. Previous years, we were throwing 10, 12 dozen out there, whatever we needed. This year, we kept it small, kept it, light and realistic. And
Realistic is what I was
we
just
didn't
gonna
do
say,
bad.
yeah.
But next year might be a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And then to go back to what you were talking about, this new generation and how they see things on YouTube and all that stuff. I mean, my dad was the one that taught me how to hunt, and either it was your dad or your grandpa taught you how to waterfowl hunt. And
for me, it was my grandfather.
Yeah. And so they passed on that heritage duck hunting is unlike anything else that I've come across. There was ethics, there was morals, there was standards that anybody could shoot a duck, right? But my dad was like, you got to get them in the decoys, And back then, steel shot wasn't what it was. It was in the beginning stages of steel shot. So the effective range of steel shot was 30 yards, So we used to call them freezer ducks. They're ones that you were definitely going to be put in the freezer, And
that close wise.
Yeah.
You're 6 o'clock in the morning birds that are in the decoys.
And so nowadays, these kids see it on YouTube and everything, which is great. I'm all about introducing young kids into the sport. Like that's
100%.
But there has to be someone to show them the right way to do it.
The right way. We had this conversation earlier. Yep.
And they don't think that it's not a bad thing to shoot at a passing duck at 40 yards. Like your odds, you're going to wing it. Your odds of winging it are good.
And it's going to soar.
And then you're going to give a half attempt at trying to recover it, and then that bird's wounded.
Right.
Or, it's dead in the weeds and you can't find it. And you're like, well, okay, whatever. You'll go back. And I think there needs to be more, and that, more
etiquette.
people, etiquette and education on it, because, you see all these things, especially in the turkey world, it could kill a turkey out 70 yards. Well, yeah, it probably can, and it will. And I've seen people do it. But just because we can do it doesn't mean why. Why should we?
Why do it?
It's not a good practice.
Yeah.
It's not first practice, so why try it?
Yeah. And there's been plenty of times in turkey season I've ate tag sandwiches.
Right.
Because I could have shot one at 50 yards or 60 yards or whatever. And I'm not trying to get on a high horse or anything, but, it's like, to me, fooling ducks, geese, and turkeys to make them believe that what you're saying to them or your setup, the communication between them, you fooled them. You made them think that you are one of them. And so...
I'm getting chills the way you just said that. Because that's the most gratifying thing for me. Like you said, not even pulling the trigger. It's just being able to have that experience to have them belly up in your face and
Yeah.
they're just totally, completely fooled.
It'll drive me. It drives my wife insane because we're going down the road and I'll be like, "There's a mallard locked
Yes,
up."
yes,
Just
yes.
You know, dip it. I'm like, oh.
How many times have you hit the rumble strips or the gravel on the side of the road?
I probably went through 3 sets of tires on the right side because I've been hitting rumble
Or,
strips.
dude, I'll stop and I had to stop doing this because I was like, oh my God. I was like, they're flying over. Like I worked at Home Depot at TTI.
Yeah.
Like I'd be at Home Depot every morning and there's a big pond in the back and they'd all fly over in the morning to go to the pond. And I'd be out there with my dog going, wee, 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 wee. And I'd get them to land right in the parking lot. And then I'd go shoo them away to go back to the pond. But it's just a feeling of having them locked and land right in front of you. And I don't know. I get the same feeling I get chills talking about it.
I honestly always think I got something wrong with me because like if there's geese flying over,
Well, there
ducks
is something
flying
wrong
over,
with you,
locked
but-
up. Well, I know that, but like even worse than everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
Like you see birds locked up and you're just like, well, like a dog with a squirrel in a tree or something like that. You know,
exactly.
it's like squirrel.
Yeah.
You know, and
You're like an
freeze
English
on it.
pointer on a rough grouse.
Right. It's just one of those things, man. Like nobody understands it until you get those opportunities when they're that close. And we've talked about it a lot. The podcast is meant to be a instructive, like to build people, but it takes, even though you tell somebody something or try to teach somebody something, it takes the right person to actually pick that stuff up, though, and that's the
And
hardest
retain
part.
it and want to listen and want to retain it, you know?
In this generation wise, I feel like it's so hard because they have one field that is just an amazing spot, but if you put them in a different situation, they're gonna not.
They have no idea what the fuck to do.
No clue what to do.
Yeah, they're looking at you like, what do I do now? And it's like, well, go back to your TikTok and your YouTube videos in Kansas.
Even like going back to like the scouting aspect of it all, where, I mean, I'm on the road. We're weekend warriors. We hunt Saturday and Sunday, and after Sunday's hunt, so Monday, I usually start scouting because I want to see what the birds do after we just shot into them. Where are they going? Get an idea of what's going on. Tuesday, I might take off because it's still early. I kind of get an idea on where the birds are somewhat going because, I mean, some days I'll scout right after Sunday's hunt, see where they're feeding in the afternoon. Monday, are they going to the same spot? Where are they going there? Wednesday, I'll kind of light scout, kind of just drive around, see what's going on. And then Thursday and Friday, I'll really start narrowing down the situation, you know, really sitting there watching them or what's going on. But then you got the guys in the background. They're like, man, how are you guys doing as good as you guys are doing? And it's like, you got to put that time in, man. Don't complain about something when you're not willing to do it. Just like with the predator stuff for the turkeys. It's like you can't complain and not do nothing about it.
Yeah.
That's.
And I know I've said this before too. You know, you got you got a guy that can run a goose call. He can make every note in the world, right?
Doesn't matter.
Well, you can't call it geese. Just because you can make every note or every note on a duck call doesn't know you don't read the geese. That takes experience. It takes time to know what the temperature of those birds are, especially in turkeys and geese. You know, like you can, some days you can't make enough noise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you call, especially migrators, molt migrators.
Oh goodness!
You let
gracious.
off the call for 2 seconds, they pick back up. I mean, there's nothing better than having them just spiral.
Tornado down.
Yeah, and you let off the call just to take a breath, and
You're
they actually kind of pick up a little
Yep.
bit. And so, but your locals, if they're coming in,
You barely need to make a sound.
yeah, you know, and people want to just, and it's like, dude, read the birds.
Yeah.
There was a time.
That's a big thing, man.
This past September where it was one of the permanent blinds, and the guys were sitting in there, and they're like, "Oh, there's a flock way out there." I called to them a couple times. I look at them, I'm like, God, don't even worry about those birds. Sure enough, they land like 600-700 yards away from us. I'm like, just, we're not gonna get them to do anything. Like, just they're the city birds that have been here for the last month and a half before season. They know exactly where to go. They know what they're doing. They do not care a bit about us. We'll focus on the other birds. And that's a big thing for the waterfowl aspect. Your birds that you're hunting, you might get other birds that fly over your field. Don't change nothing up if it's like, you might see 2, 3, 4 flocks fly over top of you. That might not even be your bird, but then you're already getting discouraged and changing decoys up and going absolutely crazy
Right.
and beating yourself up. Just take a step back, relax, see how it unfolds another flock or two.
That takes so much experience, knowing what's your birds and what's not your birds. Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of
experience, but it takes
years.
the time behind the scenes, though, too. It takes that time to understand, those are like that. Those 2 flocks that fly over into this field every time.
Coming off this quarry, coming off this lake, right.
And a quick word from our sponsors from Trav.
We want to give a shout out to Miger Ammunitions, the originator of the patent stack load. They make custom waterfowl ammunition and new this year turkey loads. If you want to find out more information on them, you can check them out on Instagram, Facebook, or go to their website at migerammunitions.com. Tag Miger Ammo to show your success stories. We also want to thank GK Calls. GK Calls are the innovators of waterfowling gear since 1999, family owned and operated. You can check them out on Instagram or also go to their website at www.gkcalls.com.
The scouting aspect, like we talked about it, is just one of my favorite things to do.
One of my favorite things in the world to even just get out and drive around and look at the fields.
How do you feel about this one? This one happens some days and you're like, uh-oh. So the first bird's off the roost. They're coming in. They're locked up. They're coming in. You don't even see anything, and then they just go, pew. And you're like, it's going to be one of those days.
Yep. we had a lot of that in Wisconsin this year, a lot of that.
We had that last year where I watched this field for a week, and it was when it snowed in the middle of the week. It was super cold until Friday night, and all the snow, or like Thursday night, everything melted by like midday Friday. It almost seemed like we lost half of our birds because the water started opening back up. And the field was just shit stacked with ducks and geese. We had a full white mallard in there that it was just insane. We ended up getting frustrated in the morning, trying to park the 4-wheeler way out in the field, just trying to scare them off of there. Just whatever we possibly could do to get the birds to even look at us. And it ended up being little calling, and at the end of the day, realism, and just letting them do what the birds are going to do.
Right.
But you don't understand that if you're freaking out over every single flock.
Yeah.
Kills me too is like the kids that that scout are. I mean, kudos for them scouting, but they go and find a field that's loaded for half the day, and they're like, "Yep, that's what we're hunting in the morning." It's like, no, dude, you gotta know your birds. You gotta know where they're coming from. You gotta watch them for at least 3 days. At least know what they're doing. Know where they're coming from.
Scouting is an art in itself, in my opinion.
It is, man.
So the thing that we've found with hiring scouts when I was working as a guide, and we'd hire some young guys, and they'd be like, "Oh, this field has birds." Okay, where were they? You pull it up on Onyx. They were like, right here. Okay. Was there anything that we could set up an A-frame? Are we going to have to hunt out of layout blinds? Are we going to have to do this? What's this? What's the terrain like?
Right. Hilly, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't look at that.
Right.
Where's the farm entrance? Where can we get into the field at?
Right.
Where can we park vehicles at?
Yep.
Everything.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
They just find the birds.
Where's the dog hut going to sit? Can the dog blend in? Yep.
Yeah. Where are the birds? They're right here. Okay. So are we going to be able to hunt A-frames? Is there an edge hide? Is it what? Oh, I don't know.
And that
I know.
And it's like,
that's the hardest thing to teach people, though, because
it comes
they
with
think
experience.
they have it with just finding the birds, parking vehicles, transportation to the field. If you got to park somewhere else, or like you said, the dog blinds, A-frames or layout blinds. What's going on? Is there a big patch of weeds in the wheat field because the farmer hasn't sprayed anything, where you can kind of just tuck in and it looks like just another weed? What's going on out there? And it's tough, and it goes back to the turkey situation, calling and terrain wise, and understanding the lay of the land.
Yep.
I don't know. I can go on and on about that.
So could I.
It's so hard to find good scouters, I guess, because halftime one, quote unquote, I don't know where to go. In September, it kills me because it's we're only hunting wheat fields right now. So what do you mean you don't know where to go?
wheat fields or grass fields?
Yeah, so it's you only have so many options.
Or a water hole.
Yeah.
Midday loaf.
And so if the birds are here, that close water is probably where they're roosted at.
Yeah.
So just tell me where they're at in the field, and I'll go out there and try to figure it out, or I'll figure it out midnight or whatever it may be. But just go out and drive. Go out and just find something.
Take your freaking old lady out and go drive and go look at hayfields. She'll love it. I don't know. Mine would. Most girls would. Probably just spend time with their guy. Just do it. Make something out of it. Take your dog. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, man.
But you got to really enjoy what you're doing, like we said earlier. You have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to want to go do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a burden to you or a chore.
It sucks. And not to keep going around in circles on this thing, it's just we do have a lot of youth getting into it, but it also scares me at the same time on what it's going to be in the future, with not a lot of people taking in the knowledge that people are trying to give them, when all the knowledge is right there, especially with YouTube, Instagram, the podcasts nowadays that are out there. I mean, just take a step back and look at it from a different perspective.
That, and then also a big thing for me is what kind of people are they?
Well, right.
Are they
right,
trustworthy people, you know?
Right. That's tough.
Please.
Anyway. What's your off season look like, Paul?
Well, right now,
a huge rant.
Just getting ready to prep, and hopefully, I took my captain's license, passed that. Now I'm got the paperwork.
Again.
I got the paperwork sitting in West Virginia. Filled all that out and sent it over there. Actually, sent it to Toledo first, and now it's in West Virginia waiting in there. So this year, I'm going to, depending on how long it takes to get all my stuff taken care of, and paperwork waiting on the Coast Guard, open up my own guide service, fishing and layout hunts out in the big water.
Awesome.
It's called Top Duck.
Okay, that was my next question. Any names?
Yeah, Top Duck LLC. So, this year, hopefully, if everything takes plans, we'll be following the birds from up by the bridge down. Follow the birds down this season, hopefully, and if we have a better year this year. Yeah, last year it seemed like they stayed up north a long time.
They did.
It's so warm. I mean, it was November, December, it was 40 degrees, 50 degrees out.
Yeah, and so that kind of made things a little bit harder, but we'll be chasing, diver ducks and sea ducks, squaw, or longtails now.
The old penguins.
Yeah, and redheads, bluebills, all that deep water stuff. And I mean, it's quite a change in the waterfowl world, but we're getting a lot of white-winged scoters now.
There's been a lot of sea ducks, and I heard
been hearing stories of the brants and stuff too coming through.
Yeah,
I heard there was something that we have in our waters that's coming up, or a mussel of some sort.
So the zebra mussels and the gobies, are what bringing in those, from what I've heard from various sources.
I gotcha.
And I can only see the zebra mussels getting more and more populated.
Yeah,
because there's really no way to
stop them.
Right?
They're in here now, and so that's what those sea ducks and a lot of the divers are eating, the gobies and the zebra mussels. So we're getting quite a push of. It's no big secret anymore, but squaw, longtails,
squaws are
so
everywhere.
They're all up and down Lake Huron, Lake Michigan now. So last year, just going out by myself, we did pretty well last year. Just taking out friends and all that stuff. Got a new boat, 20-foot center console with 175
Beautiful
on the back.
rig.
Yeah, and so just waiting on all that paperwork. So hopefully we'll be up and running by October. But as we just kind of soft open, see what we have. Hopefully, it gets bigger. But and then in the spring and summer next year, we'll be running walleye trips on the Detroit River and the St. Mary's River, and then the Saginaw Bay. Just chasing the feed all summer, spring and summer.
It goes back to even like what we talked about prior to this, where everything that you do might start slow.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to reach to a point where it seems like it's going nowhere, but pushing a little bit further, and then it's just going to explode.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, when I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that it's going to explode for you out there.
Oh, yeah.
Just doing it the way that you're doing it because of the passion, not anything else. it goes so much further than a lot of these guys out there. I feel like that are running guide services.
You don't realize, and I honestly I didn't either, how much it takes to get into something like this. I mean, you look at people's prices for outfitting and charters, fishing trips, and everything. I mean, the boat itself, the captain's courses that I had to take, the test, the licensing, the inspections, all these things are adding up. And buying all the U.S. Coast Guard approved life jackets, they're $80 a piece. You have to have seven of them on your boat at all times. You know, so those are all things. And you look at somebody and they go, well, what's your price? And, you know, my price is $500. So, you know, if you have a boat full of 4 guys for a fishing trip on the Detroit River, 6-hour fishing trip, then, you know, it makes it a little bit more affordable. But they go $500, and you're like, dude, you don't understand what I've had wrapped up into this thing.
Goes into it.
Yeah, and that's
Goes back to the
and
appreciation.
insurance itself. Like, you have to have $1 million policy for LLC.
Yep.
You know, because God forbid something happens.
Right.
You know, you want to be as safe as you possibly can, but you're dealing with the big water.
Stuff happens.
Yeah,
You
you're
know.
you're not in the wild, but you're
Mother Nature.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
And so you've got to be insured, and that's no cheap thing. You know, all the gear, you know, just starting out from scratch, you know, like I've been fishing all my life. I've been hunting all my life. And, you know, I have accumulated most of the stuff, but, you know, now you got to have trolling planer boards. You got to have trolling rods and reels. You got to have jigging rods. You got to have whipping rods. You know, I don't know if a lot of people like in St. Mary's River, you can at night whip for walleye or hand line or whatever. All these things, they add up.
See, I've always heard about whipping. I've never done it though.
It's a neat little process. You get above a hole. Some people anchor, but with today's technology and the trolling motor that I have, I can spot lock it and get above the hole. And you have 3 lures on. If you're on the U.S. side, you have 3 lures on a line, and they're 7 to 10 feet apart. And so you have one big pencil plug on the front, or 2 on the front, and then you have like a floating Rapala on the back.
Okay.
And you let it out. And you have a dropper line with about 3 foot and about 1 ounce or 2 ounce weight, and you let that hit the bottom, and you have like a bait caster reel, and you let it out, whip it 5-7 times, drop it back a little bit more, boom, boom, just follow it down the river, it bounces down the river. Next thing you know, boom, you hook up on a fish, reel them in. You can catch them. I've had doubles on one line, so you know it's an effective way to catch them.
So it's another form of like hand lining.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Short little rods, short stout little rods, and you just, you know, every night's a little bit different, figuring out what pattern they want. But, you know, so getting into it is, you know, it's not a cheap thing to do, but, you know, it'll all pay off, you know, and if you're passionate about something, and like we were talking before, you know, the many will start, few will finish,
right.
You know, and there's so many people that pop up with these things and they think they're going to be the next Jeff Coates within 6 months. You know, and Jeff has worked and worked and worked. He's one of the people that I wouldn't say idolize, but he's somebody that I look up to and see what he has done in this industry of doing pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't come overnight for him.
No.
You know, so it's, you know, you got to work at it and you got to promote yourself and, you know, do all those things. But if you have a passion and a dream, and it'll happen.
He was actually supposed to come on the podcast. It was kind of towards the end of the season and the turkey season where he had to be in the mornings and we couldn't figure it all out. I mean, it was hopefully in the near future. I'm able to talk to him and pick his brain about it all, because it goes back to just being that sponge and picking up every little thing. And, you know, a lot of the people, even going back to the pricing wise, everybody's like, well, this guy's only charging this much. It's like, okay, what kind of quality?
What are you
hunts
getting?
You're getting?
Exactly.
Like all of that. And you're right. Nobody understands any of that stuff.
And before we get off topic, I want to say congratulations to you for being able to do something that you love to do and starting a business.
Yeah.
And from what I know of you, you're an amazing guy. You're a great guy.
Thank you.
I think anybody that books with you is going to be
We're going to try our
super
hardest.
happy.
You know, we will have the top equipment, and
Yeah.
you know, definitely it's not going to be something that
Just thrown together.
thrown together.
So my whole job is entertainment with Milwaukee. And a lot of guys like to do this
Perfect.
stuff. So you're going to have to give me a stack load of business.
Yeah.
Well, this is where I'm going to take my guys. So
Yeah. But, you know, so it doesn't come without a price. I mean, it's, you know, the best example I can use is, you guys familiar with the Savannah bananas?
Yeah.
If you watch the
The baseball
documentary,
game from Georgia.
Yeah.
If
Now
you
I
watch
know what you're talking about.
If you
Yeah.
watch the documentary on them,
No,
haven't.
I have not.
him and his wife stopped their whole jobs. They bought the stadium that they play in, and it was an old minor league stadium, and they couldn't keep it open, couldn't get out in attendance, couldn't do anything. So he bought the stadium, bought the team. He was down to his last $10 in his bank account, and they were eating ramen noodles every night, him and his wife, and it was just tough times.
Been
they were
there, done that.
they were down to almost being foreclosed on their house. And he had this idea and this dream and this passion to not only just turn this thing around and not just have the baseball game side of it, but the entertainment side of it. And then anybody that's seen the Savannah Bananas, they are a baseball team,
Yeah.
but they're a entertainment act.
Yeah.
And they have sold out
They just
every
played.
game.
They just played at
in Indianapolis.
No, at Boston. What's
Yeah,
it? What's it?
Fenway.
Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say Wrigley.
Really?
Too, but Fenway
What-
Park.
what-
They just
so-
sold out Fenway.
What
Yeah.
do they do entertainment wise?
They're doing backflips and
Is that the
bands
kind?
just
Is that the guys I see? They go up to the plate and they do some cool. They do
Oh, yeah.
some cool stuff.
Yeah.
wearing
Okay.
yellow?
And they're
Yeah.
just very unorthodox.
Oh
right?
yeah, and
okay.
one guy plays on stilts.
Oh really?
Yeah. I mean, and so they have tryouts, and so if you're just a regular baseball player, you ain't gonna make the team.
No.
Right.
You have to have some kind of obscure talent and still be able to play the game.
Right.
Like this one,
Working on the plate and all that.
Yeah.
it's an entertainment, and so it's good family stuff. And so when we were on vacation one time, I was like, I want to go check it out. Everything was sold out for the next 3 years.
Really?
Holy, are
Yeah.
you kidding?
And now they're making major league tours. So they were in Fenway, and they're going to go to Wrigley, and anyway, they're going around
Yeah,
some of these big
yeah.
ballparks, and they're selling those out.
It's like the Hanson brothers, if you know who the Hanson brothers are. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, they were literally on their last $10 in their checking account.
That's
And
crazy.
it's
Having
just
the passion and the dream
yeah,
behind
sticking
it.
it out,
Yeah.
and so nothing comes without a price, and so it's been tough to get things going, but once everything's going, I have faith that it will
Explode.
pop. Yeah, and so like I said, if you either come hunt or fish with me, you're going to be the best equipment that you can have, and you're going to have a good time. We're going to put you
Yeah.
on fish or birds, whatever it is.
And dude, if you ever need help from me in any way, shape, or form with this, man, you let me know.
And that's
For
another
free. You don't got to pay me.
the huge thing with the guide services and charters and stuff too. The captains having the personality for
Yeah.
it.
That's what I was. That's
huge.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
huge.
it's an entertainment because there's going to be days where, there's days where it's nonstop and you don't have to tell the joke. And some people get tired of selling the same jokes or hearing my same corny jokes every
Yeah.
day. But,
Same dad jokes.
yeah. But, it's, but then there's days where it's slow and you have to be the entertainer, because we all know it's the wildlife. They're wild animals. They're not predictable.
They're not patterned, Joe.
I
Yeah.
beat myself up all the time about that. I mean, even the goose hunt that we went on, it's like Mother Nature brought in the fog that
Yeah.
morning, which is what it is at the end of the day. But here I am. It's like, man, what sucks for me about it is you put all that time into
Yeah.
it and then it not pay off. It's like, man, why did I even just do that and waste my
Right.
time? And
Right.
you go back out there the next day when it's like perfect weather and the birds are gone because maybe you shot into a flock or whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck's going on? But at the same time, it goes back to just the appreciation behind.
They
being
won
out
that day.
there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
the
okay.
thing, right?
It's okay for them to win.
And that leads right into the sky blast or the 70-yard shots that people are taking.
Yeah, people don't want to go home
Empty-handed.
empty-handed.
And it makes you wonder, why are they even out there?
Yeah,
For
and
Instagram pictures? I mean, what
that's, I think a lot of it is
You
that,
know.
and but going back to the guide thing, one time we had a book hunt with Tim Grounds.
Mhm.
This is in the mid '90s, late
Rest in
to
peace.
mid, yeah, and it was a week before we were supposed to take our trip down there. We'd already paid our deposit and everything, and he calls me up and he says, because I was the party leader, I arranged the whole thing, so he says, don't even bother coming down. He said, the birds ain't here. He said, I said, well, we just want to come down and hunt with you. He's like, I'm going to tell you right now,
Don't waste your time.
don't waste your time. And he could have said, come on down, we got birds, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they just didn't show up today, or whatever. But
The
that right there gained a lot of respect from for him, because he could have easily said, "Yeah, come on down," and
and took
it
your money.
just didn't show up. And not that Tim needed any respect from anybody, because his
Tim Grounds.
Yeah, Tim Grounds was like, he's the goose guy, and it's just that kind of stuff, that reputation, that being that integrity.
Right.
That's the thing that a lot of people miss out on when they think they're going to be the captain of the year, and it's all about this and that. But
It kills me, man. The amount of people that just think that they're kingpin and
Oh yeah.
want to play the part like that, and it takes that kind of situation to show who really
Sets himself apart integrity wise.
It's just, I don't know. Like we talked about before, it goes back to just doing what you do, being truthful about stuff, and everything's going to come to you. Don't go out there and act a part that you're not even understanding yourself. Just be you at the end of the day.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
It's
It's the best
tough.
way to put it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that dog people that are really successful, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
well, look at him, blah, blah, blah. And now I've never met like we'll say like Bobby Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's Bobby Guy. That's who he is. And I've never met him, but there's so many people that hate him that have never really met him. They just see Bobby on TV and, and he made a mistake. One time he shot and didn't see the dog coming breaking and all that stuff. That happens. I mean, it doesn't, you don't want it to, but those are things that happen.
If you hunt hard, it's going to, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's, for the longest time, I wasn't a big Bobby guy because there was a point in his career that I felt that he was trying to do too much with like pushing, whether it was like the titles of whatever he was posting and just putting a bad name on himself, but at the end of the day, doing it for the right reason because he's still growing off of that, because people are having his name in his mouth when he's really just hunting and doing what everybody else does. But those keyboard warriors are going to just knock you down every single time. But kind of looking back at it, it's like, man, like, here's a guy that left the big three, if I'm not mistaken. Not mistaken. I think he quit Ford to live this dream, and look at him now.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that way.
And it didn't happen overnight either. I think so many people throughout the world, they want instant gratification and they think it's going to happen now, and
social media is a big factor in that.
And I know we've talked about it before. No, it's a highlight reel of everybody's. Nobody ever puts any bad stuff on there unless like somebody passes away or an accident or this person's in dire need of, they're sick or whatever. But for the most part, you don't see, hey, my kid just got kicked out of school because he brought a bag of Coke to school and was selling 8 balls or whatever, and
didn't share any for me.
Yeah, it's like you don't see that side. So you get this false perception of everything, and then you're like, well, why isn't my life perfect like Debbie's?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't know what's going on, actually.
The backstory is there's 100 other things, but this front that she has on Facebook or Johnny, they like make you believe everything's hunky-dory. But
I can tell you about so many people I know like that, and I know their backstory, and I know everything at home is just a mangled mess.
And that's
but
the
they
thing,
make
though,
you believe it's not.
Or like, we still post the piles that are only like 5-6 birds. It's because like the passion behind it all. It's not because of
I'll
the
post
likes.
10 geese with 7 guys. I don't give a
who
shit. I got a
cares?
bunch of those. I don't care. It's because I was with my buddies doing something we love to do. I had amazing hunt and amazing scenery.
Maybe it was that one flock that did it perfect. Maybe you only shot 3 birds out of it, but your dog did amazing on that.
Right.
Retrieve, whatever it may be, but they're not seeing it that way.
Something
you know what I
special
mean?
to you.
yeah, and it's okay to show that. That's hunting.
Right.
It's
life.
That's life. I mean, you're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have failures in your job, your career, or your wife, or your marriage, or whatever it is. You're gonna have those fails, and that's where you learn from it, and stuff like that.
Yeah. It just builds. It makes you stronger, and it makes you appreciate those days that you do have that are bangers, or that you do only kill 10 geese, but your dog did. It makes you appreciate those days a lot more.
Oh yeah,
because you know what the bad days are like.
yeah.
Oh God, they can be so bad, especially the bad months that you'll go through, the lulls at work. Oh, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
Like I went through one this past year, and all I wanted to do was get a job back home with the same company, and
Yeah.
I put my head down for a year, worked 2 jobs, and I just put my head down. I was having a newborn, and I was like, please God, just give me an opportunity to come back home, and it all worked out, you know. So it makes you appreciate stuff a lot more.
Yeah, and if there's, if that's the thing, like I see a lot with these younger kids, they don't want to make which nobody wants to make a mistake, but those are your learning pieces. I mean, how many times have you failed? How many times have I failed?
Yeah.
And it makes you a little bit stronger each time. And you learn from those things. So if you never have a failure, you never learn how to deal with that when it does happen, and that's just life. That's hunting. That's every situation you can possibly think of, and in corporates and everything. And like I tell girls that coach in softball, like, hey, we got our tails kicked in today, but we did this really good. Okay, let's move on from that. Let's get that going, and let's work on these 3 things, and we possibly, find the highlights, and build them up with that. But then also talk about the bad things.
And I think ties back into the everything's perfect on social media with the kids nowadays too. Because what I notice, like with my younger cousins and stuff, is like they never want to look stupid. So what they'll do is they just won't try.
Yeah, exactly.
And I go, you look even stupider not trying and going for it than you do trying really hard and failing.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I picked up, like from the baseball perspective of it all, a Hall of Famer. And this is like what I still carry over. A Hall of Famer is 3 out of 10.
300 batting average.
And so you're going to fail 7 times.
70% of the time you fail.
Out of the, like I said, 10 times.
Yeah.
So it's okay. At the end of the day, it's okay. Everybody does it. It is what it is. Learn off of it.
Yeah.
Am I sweating my ass off?
Anchorman. I'm thinking of the scene from Anchorman where he pulls out the Sex Panther perfume. He goes, it works 60% of the time,
all
time.
the time.
He goes, that doesn't even make sense.
But like I tell my daughter, like when we're playing softball, I'll be like, okay, she's an outfielder, and I'm like, okay, you pulled up on that ball, right? Like it was a fly ball. You pulled up on it, caught it on the one hop. Got it. I say, okay. And this is in practice. I'm like, practice is where you
work on stuff.
work things.
Right.
So I tell the girls too sometimes when I've coached them, like, this right here is where you win the games. When the game comes, that's where you collect your medals.
It should be just
Or
going
your
through the
trophies.
motions almost at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, okay, in practice, you let the ball drop in front of you, which wasn't a bad deal. Like could be worse things.
right.
Okay. You picked it up, threw it to second base, kept them at 1. Not a bad outcome, right?
Right.
Well, let's try going for that ball. Okay. You try for that ball, you miss it. Girl only still gets 1 base, but at least you tried.
Right.
The upside is maybe you make that catch and you don't have that girl on first base anymore. So
You don't even know what you're capable of doing
until you do it.
until you do it.
Yeah.
And practice is the best. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're saying.
And it's like, okay, this is where you try things. This is where you learn new things. Learn your capabilities
Yeah.
and your limitations of what you can do.
Because at this point, nothing matters.
Yeah.
So let's just try it.
Nothing banks on this. You know?
And then it's and I see that now, like you were saying, they just don't want to try because they don't want to look stupid. Like, oh, you're a try-hard.
Yeah, you're a sweat. You're a try-hard. Yeah. And I'm like, what's that even mean?
I'm like, I would have a whole team of try-hards if I
Yeah,
could.
no
Exactly. Yeah, give me a team of sweats. Yeah.
Give me a team that wants to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
That goes right into our goose group right there. Like, there's me, my dad, Brandon, Fonzie coming in, but other than that, it's like, just go out and try something, do something.
Yeah. Do
besides
anything.
waking up in the morning and showing up.
Yeah.
Like, do something, man.
Buy some sausage. Like your dad's over there cooking. Your dad's over there cooking breakfast that one day we were hunting, and I'm like, man, I could have brought some venison sausage. I could have run some good bacon. Like, what? You should have told me, man.
Yes.
I didn't realize you were making breakfast.
That's like his. So years previous, this year is probably the best year so far. We would butt heads so much in the mornings, whether it been the hide or the decoys or whatever it may be. Now I'll say, hey, we're sitting here. My dad goes right into the blind, starts cooking, and just lets it be what it's going to be. And it's like, we fail a lot at not arguing, but like now we understand it all. But it's been so nice, man. So nice that he just sits there and cooks and doesn't have to. I don't have to like worry about him now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's his little like thing. That's his cooking is his little thing.
And if you have a crew of 4 or 5 guys that you go out with every day, or you hunt with every weekend or every day or whatever you do, you assume positions, right? Like, oh, you're the guy that sets up the blinds. You're the guy that brushes in them. You're the guy that sets up the decoys. Your dad's the guy that cooks breakfast. It's like
Everybody's got a job, man.
everybody's got a job. They know their job,
Right.
and it gets done,
Right.
And that's how it was when I was running around you guys' age. It was me, my brother, and my other buddy, and we just knew it wasn't if we were going hunting; it was where.
Yeah.
Right.
And they all, my one buddy got married, had kids.
We talked about this.
Yeah, he has. I haven't hunted with him. We keep in contact. We text message. Like we can see each other for the first time, and I haven't probably seen him in 2 years in person, but we can see each other and just pick up right where we left off.
That's the best.
And it's like no time between. We text each other and message each other all the time, send stupid, TikToks or whatever to each other. And then he got married and had kids, and not nothing against him. It's just life.
Right.
Life happened, and he hasn't been able to get out as much. And then my brother, he moved away for a couple years in Kentucky, and so then I had to find a whole new group of guys. And like you were saying, there's a lot of guys that do it. There's not a lot of guys that do it right.
Right.
And then
Right.
you're like,
It's tough, man, to find that core group.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, it didn't work out with these guys,
Yeah.
and okay, well, and then you feel bad because they're like, hey, we hunting this weekend. Like,
Yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
tough because it's like I always preach that, I don't care who comes out. I don't care, like I'll have anybody out, which is true. But at the end of the day, it's like, what do you got really going for me, man? Like, I'm not the person that says I'm doing this for you. I expect the same thing from you, but
Right.
I expect a little bit of something. I'm not going to tell you that. I just want you to just want to do it for yourself, even. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to have more of a passion behind it than they actually want to have.
yeah,
If that makes sense.
you want the same level of passion going into it that you bring, or pretty close.
Yeah, or just even more, like, it goes back to just the opportunities that we have and people overlooking that. And it's just like, you have no idea what
Goes behind the scenes.
the scenes, but like you have no idea the opportunity that you have to like going out to these fields. People would die to have the properties that we're able to go on to and hunt and turkey hunt this close to home and bird hunt this close to home and do as well as we do. And saying this is like arrogant, cocky as I possibly can. There's not a lot of people that do as good as we do for weekend warriors.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody sees the background stuff. So if I can get 2 or 3 guys in the group that like understand that and they're like, man, this is awesome. Like, we're a part of this whole thing right now. Where can I help out? Where can I jump in at? It shouldn't be as hard as it is.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when I met Kyle, and I was like, dude, we got to talking and met, and I was like, dude, this, he runs as hard as I do. I ran around Wisconsin every freaking day in an area I didn't know, just given coordinates by a buddy, and we ran that peninsula every day checking fields, even fields that weren't ours that we'd have to go door knock. But you want to find the guys, like you said, that reciprocate it, that put in the same amount of work, that want to try different things, want to reach out to different areas. And it's crazy that the hate you gain from that, though, the success.
It's tough. It is tough. But in time, in years doing it, you find out who's really a part of that core group.
Yep.
Going to weed through a lot of people, unfortunately, and a lot of close friends. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you and go from there. You can't give yourself gray hairs for
Right.
somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah, because
100%.
You've got a trailer full of, like, I used to have pretty much the same setup you do. You know, we had 3-4 guys, our core guys, and we would go and we just fill it up with decoys every year. You know, we'd have a decoy day where we'd fix any of the decoys. We'd assess what we needed, and then, you know, we'd split the costs. You know, because we were young too. We weren't made of money, and
Right.
so, like, you know, you buy this, I'll buy that, and we just shared. And it was like, you know, nobody owned everything, but
Right.
you know, if you couldn't make it, well, I'm going to come pick the trailer up today. We're going to go out. Okay, cool. You know, no
Yeah.
big deal. And it got to the point where I sold all my Bigfoots and all my full bodies and my trailer and everything, because it was just me and my son, and we didn't need all that now.
Right.
So I could throw 10 dozen silhouettes in the back of the bed of my truck, 2 blinds, and we could go hunt.
Yeah.
And I could be in and out in no time.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's, you know, why I kind of want to go towards that smaller group, towards it all. Like, I will say the numbers that we were running last year, like in years prior to that, we ran 14 guys, and that hunt you came on. 14 guys, usually that's like a cluster.
That's a lot of. That's like a lot of
People don't know what to do half the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like that morning
I
was.
don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with my hands right now.
I felt like that morning though was a very smooth morning, and like everybody kind of knows what to do. But
14 people in panel blind is a tough pull. And the only time I've seen anything like that happen was in standing cornfields. You know,
Yeah.
right,
You can
was
get away
super
with-
easy.
Get away with it.
but like I said, we made it work. We shot a handful of birds that day, and 2-0 Oilers.
Yeah. That's why I had it open for you.
I know.
What a comeback though on these
Yeah.
guys.
Because they were down, what, 3-0?
3-0.
3-0, and now which I think they're gonna win this one. You never know with
What period
playoff
is it
hockey,
in?
but they're in the second, so it's
so
still
we still got a period and a half. Right?
yeah. But
Maybe I shouldn't have closed that bet out because I was betting on them guys, and I just
Were
closed
ya?
it out 2 days ago, I think it was.
oh man,
Oh.
if it goes to Game 7, I'm not missing Game 7.
Oh,
It's tough, man. It's tough. Any other exciting things with photography, deer season, GK calls coming up?
you know, GK, we just released the Rumbler Goose Call.
Saw
super excited to
that.
try
That
that.
logo is sick.
Yeah, you know, and it's after Scott Rumble, he does help design that call. He's been one of the guys on the team for many years. He helped design that call, and that's his signature call. You know, and I had my hands on a couple of the prototypes, and so it's
What kind of call could you relate that to?
it's not really like, you know, the overture is real fast and high pitch. This one's in between that and like the element or solution. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
Okay.
the solution. So it runs fast, but it has deep goose. You
That's-
can get
I mean,
the deep
that's
goose
an
out
all
of it.
around perfect
Yeah.
call then.
Yeah, and so that's going to be our new launch this year. We'll be at all the shows. We'll be starting. There's a little thing up in Grindstone City. I think that's like into July.
That's how I get a hold of you and Glenn to see where you need us at and when
Oh,
you
yeah.
need us.
Yeah,
We'll definitely
100%.
need down here at Point Moulet. And then we'll have Bay City. That's the following weekend. And then Woods and Waters. That's a big show. Like, if you've
Is that
ever
the one at
Imlay
Novi?
City.
Imlay.
Imlay
Imlay
City.
City. Okay.
So it's
It's
a culmination of everything, like deer hunting, food plots.
I mean, they're selling Argos. They're selling.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
just
think I've ever been to that.
Oh man, it's a good time.
It's nuts.
It's really good. It's really well done. That's one of our better shows of the season.
Milwaukee Tool might have to do a booth there too.
Yeah, it's seriously. There's everything. There's I've seen Echo there. I've seen, you know, like Echo lawn equipment.
Yeah. Yep.
Chainsaws and stuff like that. There's farm equipment. There's food plots. There's deer blinds. There's, you know, Excaliburs there. I mean, everybody. But we're
Yeah.
generally one of the only waterfall call makers there.
really.
Yeah, so it's really worked out well for us. There's been a couple of people that have showed up that, and we've been doing it for almost 15 years now. So we've got quite a following there. So a couple of years ago, one of the guys, I can't remember his name, he showed up there and he had a booth right next to us. And I actually felt really bad for him. And I came over and we were just pumping out calls. And I was like, hey, you guys having a good show? And he's like, no. He's like, what in the heck are you guys doing over there? They're selling all these calls. I said, man, listen. I said, it's just being here for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, people expect you there.
They know if they have a problem. Like, we have a lifetime warranty on our calls, and we'll retune them for free. So, it's like the second weekend of goose season, and that's bad, but people are like, oh, my call doesn't sound the same as it did last year. Can you guys retune it? Which is perfect for us because, it's goose season, and they bring it in there, and then we, hopefully they try out the new Rumbler this year, and hopefully they fall in love with that. And so that's a good show for us. They have dog stuff. There's kids stuff there too. So, I mean, it's a really, really good family-friendly place, show. And then Point Mulet's
Van Dyke, correct?
It's like 53 right there in Imlay City,
Yeah,
which
okay,
is,
yeah.
I don't know of what.
I think
53 is Van Dyke.
I think
don't know.
yeah, I think it is, but I could be wrong.
But yeah, it's right in the fairgrounds right there in Imlay City. But it's a good time. It's a 3-day event. Starts Friday afternoon and goes till Sunday. And if you think about it, it's probably there as far as
That's crazy.
outdoor stuff.
Like
Nuts.
and like we said, like if you need our help with any of that stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, reach out.
And-
It'd be awesome. It'd be cool to do. And I work those shows all the time, so it's like nothing,
Yeah.
nothing to me. I'm used to
Yeah.
it, and
It's
cool,
a good
man.
it's a good time. But and then Point Mulet, that one's.
I'm working on that one.
You're working on it.
I'm trying to build it as best I can to get it somewhat to the point where it used to be.
So
It's fallen off a lot.
oh yeah,
I mean, it just the biggest thing with me and the Point Mulet thing is like the flea market style booths they have. I think that freaking kills it.
It's a flea market, but it's during season.
Yeah.
So nobody.
That's true too. It's always in September.
You're missing all of the guide services, all of the charter services. And then they're bringing people are coming to see. Stupid fly. People are coming to see those guys there from
Right.
social media or whatever it may be,
Big name guys.
booking hunts or whatever, and that's when they're making their money is during season, so they can't be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you buy your stuff before season, not during
season.
Well, they used to have 4 duck calling regionals there, and then they had the Midwest goose calling contest there, and now they've lost. Last I knew, unless things have changed, they've lost all the sanctioned duck contests there. So there would be times where all the guys. It was one of the later contests in the year. There would be 5 or 6 Blazers come up, Yukons, all from the south, with guys trying to qualify
Yeah.
for the world title or
Right.
world championship down there, up there. So that would bring in people, and then back in the day, I mean, you would have Foils was there, Zinc was there,
Knutson's.
I mean, everything was there, and that was before. I mean, like now the internet's kind of killed that
it's
too.
tough, yeah.
But those guys would come up and they would sell a truckload of calls and go home, and
So they have all of that stuff there for the calling aspect of it all, but they don't have anybody to run it
yeah,
because they were asking us and then you, like GK wise, Glenn, to kind of make it our own. And I talked to Glenn about it, and I understand it. Which I don't know anything about competition calling because that's a whole different beast in itself.
Yeah, I know. My grandfather used to make me do the kids duck calling competition.
It's
That's
just-
all.
it's-
It's about
it's-
all I know at the
It's
at the
different,
waterfall
though, man.
festival.
It's just different. Like the calls aren't the same. Like you're calling,
Yeah.
but it's not like the same as
Right.
like what we're doing.
yeah.
And just
I
a lot
learned-
to do.
I learned quite a bit from Kelly Powers' brother John Ed Powers this year when I went down there and hunted with them. Like that's a whole community in its own. The calling, and everybody knows each other, and there's a lot that goes into it. And it's crazy some of the places they'd say they'd travel to get to these calling competitions, and the way they'd pack up the trailer and pack up the van and go and just
Well, now social media, they have calling competitions online now.
stop.
So
Are you kidding?
No.
I started COVID year, I think,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't like that.
Kyle Jones is a big part of that, isn't
Yeah.
he? He's like one of the head guys there.
Really, I don't know.
The whole, I mean, and you can say what you want to say, but I could back in the heyday, when we were traveling around, I could pick out everybody's routine. You could, the contest aspect of it was that the judges didn't see the callers.
Yeah.
Okay. And now the online thing is you submit a video, and the thing is like it's not just one video. So you could run.
You pick and choose what video you're sending.
You send. So like you could mess up 5 times. And like when I judge a contest, it's the moment right then and there. So there's been times where I've been on stage duck calling, and if you squeak your call, stick your call, you can almost hear 5 pencils hit the table.
Right.
Yep.
Like it's over for you. So that aspect of it, being able to do it in front of a crowd, contain yourself and compose yourself enough to do it in front of a crowd, run 3 clean routines.
Yeah.
And without messing up. That's the element itself that you lose in those online contests.
Yep.
So, like, if I could run 10 routines and take the best one that I didn't mess up on
and
submit it. So now you've taken that element all of
I don't like that.
I understand the premise behind it, and it's great, but I understand that premise, and it was cool during COVID and everything, but I think that it just kind of loses that mystique.
It's losing the culture behind it all.
Yeah.
It's losing like the pure calling aspect, the pure talent on the stage.
Right.
Sweating your butt off up there. The crowd. I mean, just there's so much that goes into it on the stage.
So I was going to see with you too is like, have you heard of the Waterfowls Expo in Oshkosh, Wisconsin?
Oh yeah. I've been there.
Yeah,
Never heard of it,
dude. I'm going this year regardless because I got Jeff Foils. I have a bunch of stuff for him. I got to give him. We're doing a little trade off thing, but I was wondering that like if I'm already going up there and we could still get a booth, that's huge visibility in a different state.
I would be down for it.
So
yeah.
The thing with Oshkosh is a good place, and we've been there several times, and that was one of Wade Walling. I don't know if you know. He's a world champion, 2008 world champion, and then the champion of champions in 2010.
Can't say. Never heard
Thinking
of
of John Walls, which is the new world champ.
But Wade was on fire, and between him and Hunter Grounds, those couple of years, it was like who's going to win it, and it was back and forth. Wade's big breakthrough was that out there at Oshkosh. I have a picture of it still. It was like me, Bob, Rusty Heron, Craig McDonald, Wade, and he'd won the goose calling contest. And it's this huge goose decoy, like carved goose decoy. And that was his first real big win, and that's what catapulted him to the top there. It was and then they took the contest out of there for whatever reason the following year or the next year or 2 years later. So, but it's a good time. Like it was a really cool place.
It is. It's a good time. There's a lot of big name guys there.
Yeah.
Like a lot of big name guys. It's a great to network too.
Oh,
it's a great spot to network. Get to know guys that maybe you've seen on social media that you haven't met. Get them to know our brand. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The shows like that. I've been going to Point Moulet. I've been to Bay City multiple times. But honestly, this past year at Point Moulet, when we were working the GK with Evan and had our own booth right next to it, that was like a whole different experience that I know it could probably get old real fast because some of the conversations that you got to have, it's like, get me the hell out of here as fast as I possibly can. Someone come save me. Someone get this guy away from talking my ear off.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the... I loved it, dude. Just to interact with people, to be able to talk to people, to be able to pick people's brains,
exactly.
and just everything. Like it was honestly really cool to experience.
I think that Wisconsin one, me and you got to have a one-off conversation about that because that's so big. They have it in like 4 different pole barns.
Yeah,
it's insane. Pole barns are like warehouses, and it's packed with all big name guys.
I think the Gator Decoy boys go.
Oh
there.
yeah, Gator. I know Gator Decoy. I'm pretty sure Gator Decoys was there. I mean, there's dive. I mean, everybody's there. Foils is there. Dive Bomb's there.
Don't even get me started with the dive bombs, man.
Gun Dog's there. I mean, there's so many people that are there, and it's so many good people. Lucky Duck. There's so many good people to talk to though. Like,
yeah,
and they're good people. Like you just build those connections. And
speaking on that aspect of it all, it's crazy the fact that, like, example wise, like Sean Stahl, I talked to him a while back and
shout
talking
out
about
Stahl's calls. I run one. Just saying.
Doing the what happened to GK, man? We were just on the GK strand, and now
hey man, no.
See how this guy is, Paul?
I gotta get a GK call. I'm gonna get the Rumbler.
I probably will.
He's got me excited. I'm gonna snag one of those for sure.
But like Sean, like he said, yeah, I'll come do a podcast or I'll on the phone and stuff, and it's like, oh shit, like this is actually happening. Like,
oh yeah.
For being and I don't know Sean, like we're best buddies or anything, but I do know him quite well. We traveled around a lot from contest to contest, and just being in the same places, hanging out, partying together, doing all those things back in the day. And but for who he is in this industry, he's one of the most down to earth people you will ever meet.
And that's like what half of the guys are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just talking to them.
Yeah,
I've had the opposite experience.
Really?
You're like the most down to earth guy that you're 4-time champion, world champion, right?
No, MichiganState.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, but still,
yeah.
He's like the most down to earth guy I've met in the industry that works
Paul's
with a brand.
Dick, dude. What are you talking about?
Serious. I've had the total opposite, where guys have just been assholes, man, and they know everything. You don't know shit, and they're looking at you like you're a puke. And
I think that's the timing, though, aspect of it all. The guys that have been in the industry and have done the stuff, like, there's no need, and they know there's no need to be like that cocky arrogant guy. The new guys that are coming into it, it goes back to the generation thing.
Maybe I think that's it. Yeah, because a lot of the guys that I've conversed with haven't, they've been younger guys.
And that's just like, they think that they have one of those blue check marks on their Instagram page that they bought or whatever.
You can buy those.
Like, they think there's somebody. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion.
Right.
My always thing is like, I'm constantly learning. I mean, like, I've seen and done a lot of things, and I haven't hunted all over the place, but going back to like North Dakota, like I was telling you about the goose situation out there, getting our butts kicked out there that one day, that was a learning point for me. Like I've been I've been pretty successful, and going back to that even, so my son started hunting with us when he was like 8 years old. Like he was always hunting with us, but he actually started shooting when he was 8. And I'd only put one shell in his gun because, it's just one shell, and, but he was 2 years old, and I had him out in the field with my blind bag had wipes and diapers in it, and,
that's a your boy, Fonz.
Actually, I'll show him a picture.
But, so he's always been around us. He's always seen the very successful side. Now, not being that we've limited out all the time,
right.
but he's seen how it's supposed to be done and how it does, how it's supposed to work out. And then he started hunting with some of his buddies, and he's like,
what are we doing here?
Like, this isn't how we're supposed to be doing this. And they're like, oh, this is how we do it all the time. And it goes back to that, nobody showed them how to.
Etiquette.
Right.
And so he's like, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but, I've been doing this since I've been 2. Like this is what we're supposed to be doing. And then, some people get rubbed the wrong way, and then they're like, well, how do you know this? And like, well, this is my experience, and this is my dad. And they're like,
right.
Oh, and not to be bragging or anything, but like he's seen the right way to do it this whole life. And when he comes and hunts with other people, they're like, oh, you need to come hunt with us, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, cool. He'll go hunt with them. Comes back. I'm like, how'd it go? He's like,
good.
These guys don't have a clue, Dad. It's like,
but I'll be honest with you, though, it's almost a good thing that he's experiencing that and knows the right from wrong. No, as bad as that sucks. I mean, it's one of those things where, didn't she have him in a rocker or something in a blind this year with head muffs or something? Or
I had headphones on him. He slept the whole time, actually. And
4 months old out there.
Yeah, he's 6 months old. I had him out there, and he had this little bear skin. This was the thing we had for cold weather, and it worked. It kept him warm. He sweat. So, but yeah, I had him out there in the blind with us. Didn't make a peep. Nice. I mean, and that's gonna be his. It's gonna be his life. You know. So.
Yeah, we were. So this one time we were deer hunting, and we had this pop-up blind, me and him, and my buddy was like, they're going to come out of the swamp at such and such time, right before dark, all these does. And when that's all I wanted to shoot, I wanted to see, I wanted to have him with me. He wasn't old. Yeah, he wasn't old enough to to deer hunt at the time, or what I thought he was, you know. And so he was 4 or 5. But, you know, nowadays they can hunt whatever you want.
You see people pushing over little kids shooting that monster buck.
Yeah.
Look
out
at
of
my
the
son
stroller.
shot. He's like 6 months old.
Yeah.
6 months old.
And so anyway, we're sitting in this blind, and these does, just like my buddy said, they're going to come out of this swamp, and they're going to come up this little draw. And he's sitting there, and he's like, "What is that?" It's like, "There's deer coming up right here." And I'm working my gun open to. We're in a pop-up blind. I'm working into the window, and we're kind of guesstimating where they're going to come through. And he sticks his head out, and he's like, "Dad, deer right there!"
Oh my God! I love
Shut up,
it.
kids. Sit down.
I love it.
And they just, pew, you know. And I'm like, okay, you know, nothing's hurt you.
Yeah.
You know,
Could be a lot worse,
Yeah.
you know.
And he's like,
It's so innocent.
and then he
though.
looks at me. He's like, "Where'd they go?" And I'm like,
Shut up, dude.
I think they didn't like you sticking your head out and
and
talking
yelling
to him.
at him.
He's like, "Oh, okay."
That's like Trav this year. Trav had a horrible turkey season. The guy,
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
the other guy that runs this page with me,
Uh-huh.
and the very last day they started getting pictures of this Tom over and over again. I think the season ended on a Saturday this past year, if I'm not mistaken.
Friday.
That's right. That's right. It was yeah. So Thursday, Trav went out there, called this bird. Bird shut up. Well, Trav's like, "Well, the bird's probably gone now." Stands up, and the bird's walking up the ridge like towards him. And the next day, bird's just doing the same thing. Bird shuts up. They don't see him, don't hear him. He's like, "Just sit there." He's coming. He did the same thing. Turkey doing the same thing. Tough if you just spooked him. But next thing you know, they see a dark spot in the grass. Ben, his buddy's dog, got out of the house that morning and followed them all the way back out.
Trailed
to
them
the,
out there?
He's
all
playing in
way
the
back.
decoys.
He's sitting there wagging his tail, happy as can be, and they both look at each other and they're like, "No,
What-
that's
what
just
do you
that's a
do? It's
cherry on top of
So
the
innocent with the kids and the dog. It's like
Yeah.
it's innocent. There's nothing you could do. You can't get mad and get all pissed off.
It's just, again, be happy that you're out there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
You
And
know,
then the same. He was about the same age too. I took him out turkey hunting one morning, and it was late in the season, and we snuck in, and we had these birds gobbling, but they're on somebody else's property. So my buddy, I kept him up in front, like 50 yards in front of me, and I had me and my son back about 50 yards because I didn't want. We were kind of hidden in the bushes and everything, so that if he moved or something, I wouldn't spook him.
right.
And dude, these birds are gobbling their heads off, and I just knew it was a matter of time. I'd call, and I'd get a response and everything, and I'm like, nothing's happening. So we were gonna wait them out, you know, because I knew they would come back, and they'd come off that other property. So my son looks at me, he's like, "Dad, I'm hungry." I'm like, "Okay, well, just wait, and you know, we're gonna get a turkey to come in here." And he's like, "I'm really, really hungry." I'm like, "Okay, well, you know, Corey and I, we gotta get this bird working. You know, we'll come in, we'll get him, and once we get him, we'll go get something to eat."
Right.
"Dad, I'm really, really, really hungry." I'm like, "All right." So I didn't want to force him. The biggest thing is I think especially with young kids, is like
Force them to be out there.
force them to be out there against their, you know, past their shelf life.
Right.
You know, like you have to keep it really simple for them and
Exciting.
keep, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Not
if-
forceful.
Like there was days when I was young that there should no reason I should have been in the woods, but,
Right.
but we were out there, you know.
Just like your turkey hunt this
Yeah.
last year.
But so I belly crawl up to my buddy and I was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go home, or let's go home. We'll get on these birds again. We'll come back. I'm gonna drop him off and get him something to eat, and me and you'll come back out." He's like, "Okay." So we crawl back out, you know, because those birds were just on the other side.
Oh,
And so we're coming out, we're walking out, and we get back to my son. I said, "Just stay here, you know, like I'm going to go talk to Corey. We'll come get you." "Okay." So I get back to him and I stand up and I'm like, "All right, come on, let's go." And I no sooner say, "Come stand up," and over this hill comes this silent Tom. He was
Oh,
coming in
man.
from behind, never made a noise.
oh.
And I was just like, looked at my buddy. I was like,
What do you want to go eat now, son?
Yeah.
Where are we going?
But you know, it was just innocent. It was cute. It was everything, you know. But so anyway, we went back out there, and we in about 9 o'clock when we killed up and struck him up back up and killed that bird. But it was just those little things are the things that stick out in your mind, and you can never get them back. You know,
Right.
and that's the experience that you get to have. And
That's what's tough about my sister this year. I mean, she had some really good opportunities out there, and it was her second year turkey hunting, but she was moving houses. Shout out to you for buying her house, or old house.
Shout out Lauren.
And her wedding's coming up, so she had a bunch of planning and a bunch of stuff going on. She had 2 opportunities this year, and trying to get her to stop moving, but like trying to let her have that excitement behind it all, and try to let her experience it and all, like take everything in and not get upset and frustrated with it all. Because there was a couple times like, if you move one more time, I'm going to strangle you, because the turkey's going to be able to see you.
Yeah.
And there's like times where the hens, like those tide weed blinds, the hens are coming right up to the blind.
Yeah, and they don't even know.
And you, like me personally, I'm like, she sees us. Like she's like, don't move. Like she she can hear me breathing.
yeah,
She can see my chest move. Like she could definitely see us. She can't, but like I'm just thinking that way.
Yeah.
And I'm like grabbing her arm. I'm like, don't you move, right? Like don't move a muscle. Don't even blink right now.
Right.
And at the same time, it's like, I'm so glad she's having that like shaking moment, like what, like excitement. It is hard to get like super frustrated with it all, even though she missed twice. Whatever.
yeah.
She'll
Did she
get
one
them
last
next year.
No.
No.
So the previous year, she had a bird that came in at the big property that you were at about 40, 45, I'd say. Not really looking at us, which, knowing now how she shoots, I'm glad I didn't let her shoot it. But at the time, I was like, I don't want her first turkey to be a turkey that's walking away. Not really. I want it in the decoys. So she passed that up. We had 6, 7, I think it's 5 or 6 jakes come out. And I said, you can shoot them. You do whatever you want. You can shoot them or you can pass them, whatever you want. She's like, I'll shoot them. I was like, listen, if you're not feeling like the excitement behind it or like shaking about it all, then you're not going to shoot it for the right reason.
Yeah.
But you can still shoot it if you want to. And I was like super proud of her because like she did end up passing it, which in my opinion it's almost like the what's the word? Just she like the what am I looking for? Like I don't know. But she knew like if she wasn't gonna be shaken, excited about it, she the etiquette behind it all.
She didn't want to take
there.
advantage of the bird, and she wasn't fully fulfilled about it type deal. Yeah.
And that sounds cocky not to shoot like a jake in that aspect of it all, but she understood why she wasn't doing
She
it.
showed
Right.
a little restraint.
Yeah. I mean, and for my opinion, like if you're not gonna shoot that, then because you're not feeling a certain type of way, like it goes back to hunters are the biggest conservation pieces that there are.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like a proud moment, but she ended up passing or missing one bird, but like there's the excitement behind it all. I don't know. It was hard to beat. I got off track there
Yeah.
because I was trying to
Oh,
figure out
you're
a
good.
word that I still can't even think of.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We're not the smartest or the brightest.
Like you said before the podcast, something's wrong with me. I just don't know what yet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We've been to doctors. It's just they can't figure it out themselves.
Got
either.
the Shane Gillis disease.
Yeah, it nicked me, man. It just nicked me.
So what is your what's your big thing you're looking to do this year, waterfowl season? Like what are you gonna try differently this year?
Tried differently. That's tough because like it kind of goes into like for you, like hopefully you can come out as much as you possibly can for the video and stuff, but it's videoing and taking pictures. It's its own hunting in a sense because those shots, it takes that split second to get it, and it might take you all day, but just to get that one shot, like I'd really like to take a lot of videos. Me and Fonz talked about dog work, but just I guess better quality hunts, less people, less pressure for myself. Having Fonz in here is like a huge help for me because it's not just gonna be me. I'm gonna have that person that goes out there with me, or we separate and
divide and conquer.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna actually have help this year, which is gonna be huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough question because it's.
Other than the Rumbler, is there a product that you're looking forward to that trying out this year?
I'm looking forward to that thing, man.
That the blinds, I'm actually like to see because some of the blinds we weren't able to hunt as much as we could last year because the beans either got
your
tilled
permanent
or-
blinds.
Yeah. Those I'm excited about. Maybe having the kids out, one of the landowners' kids back out, teaching them. Just having other people experience everything. Really, I'm a day by day guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen.
So am I.
Like it's hard for me to express like I'm hoping for this because we're just doing it because of the passion. It's not like we're doing it for the money or we're hoping to get more clients this year. Because I'm not. You know, I take bits and pieces. You know, hopefully we grow the page. Hopefully we grow the podcast, and it's going to be what it's going to be. We're going to put the work in and see what happens with it at the end of the day.
Now, Fonz, with you coming back, moving back, what are you looking forward to most this year?
Definitely hunting with Kyle and his group and being a part of a hunt team that's really passionate about what they do and not staying complacent, and growing the friendship and then helping him out grow the page and grow this business. And, you know, that's what I do for a living, my company. And I just think I'm excited to be back home and, you know, be able to hunt full time with a group that's as passionate and as driven as I am, I think. Yeah.
So when you were in Wisconsin, did it vary much than something like you were doing here? Or was it?
I ran with two guys. One works for Milwaukee, and then another kid was friends with him. And we met through work, and he has the same passion like me and Kyle have. Like we were out every day scouting, and he fished salmon fishes and all that. And but yeah, it wasn't. No, man, it was like I said here, like. It just was guys on the water that would hunt the same spots. You know, it's not there. We were chasing fields and chasing birds and going down different counties and trying to find where they're going. And, you know, we ran hard last year, but for the season for the birds that showed up, you know, it was what it was. And it just felt like we were chasing the same 50 geese same 200 geese.
Yeah, well, that was
everybody was chasing. Yeah. So it was, but we tried our best and we did pretty well for the season that we had. We did a lot better actually on the water. And the two guys that I hunt with don't hunt water, so I would kind of showed them my way, and we actually did really well in the water. But yeah, no, it wasn't the same. The people are a lot different too when it comes to field hunting. Like people are a lot more open to have you if you're scouting their field. They'll literally tell you to just come hunt by them.
Oh,
yeah. So people were super nice. It's not like here where it's like cutthroat.
Yeah,
yeah.
That is one thing though too, where I'm looking to now with Fonzie here. To expand because I don't care if I get one or two more fields per year, you're still growing in a certain aspect of it all. You're still gaining, like building relationships with farmers or different landowners or just branching out the networking aspect of it all. And now with him here, I'm not like I'm driving through 5 or 6 different cities checking fields compared to now, who knows what's going to happen.
And my girl's parents farm down here, and they have a ton of acreage. They're one of the biggest. They're a Centennial Farms. They've been around a long time, and we have access to it through her with a lot of fields. And her dad's got into. I took him duck hunting for the first time this year. Hooked. How do I? Can you buy Sitka Direct? I'm like, yeah, you can buy Sitka Direct. You know, he's all into it now
because that's gonna be a dangerous thing.
Yeah, and I was like, well, wait, maybe I'll get a code, and we can. You don't got to pay that much for the shit, but. Yeah, so we're gonna be able to split between and then just branching out and just going and finding new freaking areas, man. Yeah. You know, like just chasing. Just the chase aspect of it is my favorite thing in the freaking.
You can never be stagnant. You can never be the same.
Love chasing,
you gotta
man.
keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you though? For like, I know with the guide service coming up, that's huge.
Yeah.
But what about you for hunting?
Well, last year me and my son didn't get to hunt a lot last year together, just because of his schedule, and I was up there guiding, so we didn't really get to hunt a lot together, and that really, because we have hunted quite a bit together, and like last year was one of the first years that we haven't, and that kind of
hit home.
Yeah, it did kind of hit home because, it's just, you realize as you get older, you realize who your friends are, who your family are. And it's those are the ones you want to spend more time with. And, like you said, you're weeding through the guys that you go through and all that stuff. And just being able to, even if you don't shoot,
right,
a limit every day, like it's that time. Like we had deer camp this year. We always have it up at my place up there in Hillman. And we did get to hunt deer up this year together. And so this was his first year. He's actually shot a deer with his rifle.
That's awesome.
And it was a funny story because, and I felt really good about it because we kind of went in, we looked on Onyx, we found the state land. We all hunt state land up there. And I looked at the spot and I looked at the terrain and I said, what do you think about that? And he's like, oh, it looks good. It looks good. So we went down this path and the path went 2 ways, left and right. And I said, well, which way do you want to go? I said, you get first choice. Which way you want to go? And there was deer sign everywhere, It's the second day of season, I think. So now everything's running scared.
Right.
And we never hunted the area before. And he says, I think I'm going to go left. And I said, okay, I'm going to go right. So it was like an hour before dark. He gets on the walkie-talkie because the cell service up there stinks. You can't even text message. So he gets on the walkie. He's like, hey, I just got, looks like a 6-pointer and 8 points coming your way. Well, he didn't really know where I was. So I'm looking. I was like, it didn't come by me. He's like, okay. So then he's like, oh, man, I just missed my opportunity at a doe. And he's on deer now, and all of a sudden I hear, cow! And if you're far enough away from somebody that shoots a deer, you can actually hear the bullet hit them on a calm day. And I heard the flop. I was like, oh, he got it. I don't know where he hit it, but he got it,
Texas heart shot.
And so he calls, he's like, dude, I missed this doe. And I said, you didn't miss that doe. I said, you hit that doe. He's shooting a 308.
Yeah.
And I said, you hit that deer. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I heard that bullet hit the deer. And he's like, really? I said, yeah. I said, go down there where you last saw it. And when you get down there, just kind of look around for some blood. I'll be there. I'm going to collect my stuff. And we were hunting from the ground. Like I said, we just walked into this place.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to collect my stuff and I'll come help you. Or I'll come look with you. I can't even got all my stuff together. He must have ran down this ridge. And it was a clear cut, so it had been clear cut 2 years before. So there was growth 3 inches high or 3 foot high, those little popple trees or whatever. And he must have ran down that hill and or that ridge, and all of a sudden I hear, yeah, because it's still that night. And and he's like, he gets out, I got it, it dropped right here, and I'm like, cool, all right, awesome.
How did you not see it drop?
In the scope, I mean, he must have just shot and, whatever.
Yeah.
And he says, bad news is. And I said, what's the bad news? He says, spike. I said, dude, don't ever, if he got excited about that. That's where we've taken this whole thing. We get hung up on the score of the deer, right? To him, that was a 200-inch buck.
Yeah.
He was, he shot at 180 yards. And he hit it right square in the neck. And I said, were you aiming there? He goes, I'm going to be honest with you. No. I was not aiming there.
Right.
And I was like, well, it served its purpose,
Yeah.
And so, but he was super excited about it. And that to me, I didn't shoot a deer that whole trip. And
that made it up for it.
It made my day.
So it's special stuff.
Yeah. And he found this spot. He found where he wanted to sit. He played the wind and, and it worked out for him. And that makes me know that I've taught him
well enough to be able to go out there and do it himself.
You've done your job as a
it's
dad and as a hunter. Yep.
And then we don't deer hunt much. We really don't.
Right.
It has to be if it's not duck weather, it's 60 degrees and sunny and the barometric pressure's high. I'll go sit in a deer stand for an evening. I don't really I do get into deer hunting, but I don't love it. It's not my passion.
Right.
But I do love deer camp.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
The camaraderie.
Yeah.
And
that was the thing when I was a kid, deer camp, man. It was, my dad would take us out of school.
Yeah.
We'd be gone for a week, and some of your biggest life lessons were learned there.
Yeah.
What to say, what not to say.
Yeah.
Right.
You learned a lot. And it was something I always looked forward to when I was a kid. And, my dad's friends, they were characters, and each one of them were a little bit different. And it was like, you grew up with those guys, and it was once a year we'd hang out up there and we'd go to deer camp. So that I love that aspect of it, and I will continue to do that for gun season, as long as I can. But that was really the icing on the cake for me this year, and we only got to hunt ducks one day. We did well that day, but the year before, man, we just smashed them. We hunted a lot and we smashed them, and it's just I have a widgeon that I got mounted, and that was the day he and I were hunting, and we smashed our limit in like an hour with a whole mixed bag of greenheads, gad walls, blacks, widgeon. I mean everything, and so it was funny too because the sun was right in our eyes, and I see like 5 ducks coming in. He's got his back turned, and we're hunting up at Fish Point, and he's got his back turned. And I said, do not move. Like, I looked up, and there was 5 ducks just belly up.
Oh.
And so I grabbed my gun, and I didn't know what they were because the sun was backlighting them. And so,
shooting the middle.
but I knew I knew we weren't close to our mallard limit, and I knew we only shot 1 black duck. So I knew I'm just going to shoot 1.
Right.
I pull up, and I didn't even know. Boom! I drop it, and he runs out there and grabs it, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad!" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You shot a stud widgeon." And I was like, "Really?" He brings it back. I was like, "Oh, that's the best one I've ever shot."
White head.
Mike mounted for
Yeah,
you, right? Okay, yeah.
And I was like, "Yep, you're right. That's a stud. That's going out the wall."
Yeah.
And that was
It's hard to come by in Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I mean, he had a little sprig on him too, like they do.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only shot 1 hen. Shot a hen.
I don't think I've
that's
ever
it.
shot a widgeon.
I think sometimes people think they've shot hens, but they're just immature drakes or not colored up yet early in the season. Or
just like the Drake
Yeah.
pintails that we
Yeah.
shoot here.
Yeah, you really have to look at the bill on those because they'll be two-tone. They'll have that chocolate stripe down the middle. And then,
There's only been a handful, maybe 2, 3, maybe. Nice bull sprig pin like that we shot in Michigan. I mean, I haven't hunted anywhere else, but all those kind of ducks are black ducks are hard to come by. It seems like some years anyway.
mm-hmm.
We were playing a game at the outfit in Arkansas this year, and a widgeon's the next one that I want really bad, but I want that full cotton top.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the guys, Hawkins, called me out. So we were talking. It was really ironic. He called me out and goes, "Fonzie, stand up and shoot this. No one else is shooting it." And it was a lone single coming in. I'm like, all right, pulled up, shot it. And I grabbed it. I'm like, no freaking way. I'm like, oh, but it's just missing that white on the back.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't fully white. And oh, my God. But I'm like, when am I ever going to shoot another one of these? Because it's not going to be here. I mean, you never know, but
You never know.
you never know.
We got
But
into them again this year. One day, same thing. I didn't know what they were, so I let them pass. We were real close on our. We were pretty close to our mallard limit, and there was like 3 or 4 of them, and then he banked and came in. All I saw were them white shoulder patches, and I was like, "Whoa!"
You're mine.
He was actually a little bit more colored up than this one,
yeah,
but he didn't have any. He didn't have that sprig
on the back.
Yeah, that little tiny little sprig there, and I was like,
Well, hopefully this year, you and your son can come down quite a bit, and hopefully the flooded field gets flooded up this year.
"Oh yeah, that was a good spot for you guys this year, wasn't it?"
And we talked about it.
Are they
Me, you,
planting
and
corn?
Glenn. Huh?
Are they going to plant corn in it again this year?
I want to say beans, but I talked to the farmer last year, and I hope I talked him into planting corn around the flooded spot, because I told him, like, when he plants beans, the ducks and geese get in there like this time of year, or when they're molting going back north, they stop there and they just devour the entire field, like with seeds and everything, especially the sand hills.
Oh yeah.
Well, I told him, like, if you plant corn around there to make like a barrier around that water spot, they're only going to get to a certain point with so much corn. They're not going to pass that up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping he planted corn around it. It's kind of a stretch because,
Yeah.
I mean, changing everything out and
Right.
doing all that. Even if it's beans, I mean, we shot the shit out of them with beans even. It's just whether or not we have that wet fall
That
again.
wet.
Yeah, and they
It was-
start to rot.
It's funny, though, too, because there's a lot of people that think that we flood that out ourselves.
No, it's just a natural hole.
Just a natural hole.
Is there even anything to pump from it if you had a pump?
I mean, there's a quarry that's half-mile away, but that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
it.
can't, yeah, it's a huge stretch.
You're gonna need a lot of hose.
Yeah,
A lot of
no
hose.
way.
But no, hopefully this year, like we talked about with the video and aspect of it all, and maybe you can even teach me with the camera, because I know you said you want to get into the
I want to get into it heavy.
photos and videos.
I do it on my phone. I have like a whole little library of just random things I take pictures of, all types of animals. But
It's
just
tough.
it's a lot. It's expensive.
Oh yeah, it's just like anything. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go out there and cry once and do it all,
Yep.
or just pick away at it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick away at it.
The hardest part with it all is like telling somebody like, hey, stay in the truck. I'm gonna get around the truck. I'm gonna video you just getting out of the truck. Just something like
Something so
like-
simple.
Right.
But it's so hard. Like people are like, dude, that's dumb as hell. Like, why am I gonna do that? Like, am I gonna just get out of the truck and
Right.
just video
Slow
me
mo,
like
get
that?
out the truck.
But like, you could add that into so many different
Yeah.
things.
Oh, so many.
But then it goes, am I getting the recognition that it took to make all of this,
Right.
or the appreciation? Because I mean, some of the videos that I put on there, it's like, man, I spent a lot of time on like trying to
Yeah.
find the audio, trying to like,
Yeah.
Sync it up.
when the beat hits, like then it's switching over. You know, not that it's all for the recognition of it all, but it'd be
It,
nice
it
to
does
have.
take a long time. I've only done a couple, but dude, they each took me like an hour and a half,
Right.
like just to make. How old's your son?
You'll be 22 in November.
Oh, okay, cool. What's his name? I'm sorry.
Jack.
Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a
And-
giant, right?
well, yeah, he's
He's a
he just-
giant.
Jack
He's
and the
like-
Beanstalk.
He's like
Yeah.
6'3", 6'4".
Oh, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He was that tall when I met him last year,
yeah.
wasn't he? Yeah, that's right. He
Yeah,
was.
but, Yeah, the whole thing is and the thing is to get a good, you can have a good camera person,
Right.
good videographer, but if they're not a hunter,
they need to be a hunter
Yeah.
with
they
the
have to
hide,
honor-
everything.
they have to know where you're going to shoot the birds, right?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
where to expect, because they'll be following them, and all of a sudden they'll be following the wrong group,
Yeah.
and then the ones that center up you shoot at, and then they're still over here on these ones in the back.
You have to be able to read just like a
Yeah.
caller does.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the best videographers are waterfowl hunters or
Right.
whatever, are those guys. And then you take away their ability to call, and now you put a camera in their hand, and you're like, well, is it worth it? So you have to have somebody that's dedicated to it, and that's not.
And that's the hard part, even too. Like with the guy that we have, not so much mutual, but I think you know who I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh yeah.
I can't spend a bunch of money on a guy that doesn't even know how to video, and is just kind of doing this as a test trial for like our turkey season. I was gonna have a
Yeah.
guy out, and he's like, "Well, this, that, and you got to pay for this. You got to do all of this stuff." And it's like, well, you just told me that you've never done this
is gonna-
before.
Yeah, it's gonna be your first couple of times doing it, and you're not demanding, but
So-
you're asking for all this different stuff for me to pay for.
Yeah.
I understand like helping you out with the travels and stuff, but at the same time, like I can't break my own pocket for something that might not even
Turn
be
out good,
'Cause
right?
Yeah.
Especially turkey season, like the movement, the everything that goes into it. If we're using a blind, if we're not using a blind, they're running and gunning. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many different scenarios that could
Yeah.
go down.
And then
bad.
the thing is too is like, okay, so your job, you had to become an apprentice first. It's like you walking in and being going, well, I'm gonna need $60 an hour, and I'm gonna need this day
Right.
off, and I'm gonna need this day off.
Yeah,
and I know you haven't even worked one day.
Yeah, I don't hunt from. I don't work from October to February.
Yeah.
Get my ass lit up the first day of work.
Okay, you're not the guy.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
kidding.
So I mean,
No
it's like
kidding.
you gotta, you just can't go in demanding all these big things at first, and then guns a blazing.
I got 4 weeks vacation on this job, and I think I'm probably gonna use
Holy shut!
starting
up.
off. Yeah, I top out.
Do you
At
have 20 days? So five like working days?
yeah, so 20 days.
Okay. I
Um,
thought you meant like what's 7 times 4? 28.
So before we were
28
talking about the other job that you were offered, and then do they have that same plan?
that I don't know.
See, that might be the deal breaker there.
What if they're like, well, we'll give you 8 weeks?
Well, they ain't gonna see me for 2.5
October
months.
through December.
That and then turkey season.
Yeah.
Yeah, bet your ass that, because those 4 weeks that I have now, I'm probably at least gonna take a week or two off for turkey season. I'm telling you, I can't
I'm
describe
telling
the
you.
turkey season and the turkey in general on how much I love just chasing them birds around.
Yeah, it was like for me when I heard them start to drum and gobble, I was like, "Oh shit, they're coming! He's coming!" You know,
That's why we don't shoot them at 70 yards.
Yeah,
because you
dude,
can experience that kind of
they're
stuff.
coming, man. It's,
You hear that?
It's so different.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like,
There was one when Brandon shot his. We were literally. You met Brandon, the guy with the big beard that we hunt with. So he's never shot a turkey before. Sid, Brandon, and I hunted on a Monday, the first Monday of the season. Bird ended up coming in. He told Sid to shoot it. I was like, man, she's already shot a bird. Like, why'd you do that? Like, the bird was 30 yards in the woods, but whatever. I appreciate you doing that, whatever. So Brandon and I started hunting every day before he went into work. I was like, man, I'll go out there. If you want to go out there, I will wake up, and I don't care if we hunt for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, I will go out there with you and take you out to a spot. So we go out to a spot, and we're setting up, or we're walking out, and I'm like, man, like, this spot right here, because the winter wheat started getting tall, and some of those decoys, you can't really set them up too high. And I was like, we should set up here, but there's no cover. Next thing you know, one hammer's like 75 yards away from us. I'm like, oh, man. He goes, well, we better set up right here. I'm like, no. We're going to push it a little bit because there was a fallen tree, which was the same tree me and my dad doubled up. Like, we sat on that tree, but we just sat on the other side. I tell him to set up. He puts the chairs down. I put the decoys all out. We get all situated. Bird gobbles like 30, 40 yards behind us. I can't see the bird, but like he's hammering. And then another bird starts hammering. I'm sitting there a little while because this year I really took into consideration calling on the roost. Maybe I'll call a little bit, but not much, depending on where that bird's at. I do the fly down cackle. I beat the hat against my leg, and everybody thinks I'm crazy for doing that. Next thing you know, 6:27, I remember, this bird pitches down in the field. He comes sprinting into the decoys. Well, next thing you know, I hear that spitting and drumming behind me, and I'm like, at first I was like, whoa, what is going on right now? And that bird literally walked from me to the fan away, just full strut, walking right to the decoys. I got it on video, just spit, drumming, just everything. It was incredible. But to experience that, you're not going to experience that at 70 yards.
Yeah.
You know?
when you can feel the ground rumble underneath you,
It's awesome. Like I could feel it in my chest when he gobbled.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
It gives you the chill. It's a different type of adrenaline. Like I tell Kyle, I'm like, dude, that's good shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's all I can say about it. I'm like, I was so amped up, man, just sitting there shaking, like, but you can feel it in you. Like it's almost, I'm hooked.
It's primal.
I'm hooked. It is. It's Neanderthalic for us.
Yeah.
I think so. And I'm hooked now.
Yeah.
I told Kyle, I'm like, dude, I'm
Like,
buying the whole get up.
It's like coyotes too. I mean, when they start yipping and yapping, and talking about saving turkeys. So this deer season, we had one coming in, and it was during bow season, and I see these turkeys working off, and it was a loud, dry night, and they're walking. And I'm watching them, and then I'll say, behind me. I turn, and here comes a coyote.
Ugh.
I'm like, oh no, not today. You're not getting one of these turkeys.
Right.
So he comes up, whacked him right there.
Oh hell yeah.
But he was hunting those turkeys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was when they would stop moving, he would stop moving, and you learned. Like I was watching them all the way because they would be milling around.
God, they're so smart.
They would be milling around, and he would move.
Wow, they're making noise.
They're making noises, and then they would stop, and he would stop.
That's a huge thing. Another big thing that I took into consideration, whether it's moving through the woods, stopping every other step, or, just the sounds that they make out in the field, kind of mimicking that to an extent, because they know the difference between all that stuff. And not a lot of people understand, like...
You can sit there and scratch the ground with a stick or your hand, just sound like a turkey foraging through the...
So Sid's bird this year comes in, we set up on the birds. We got out there late. I was like, well, we're going to have to go over here now because we're not going to be able to set up where we want to. We set up in a different spot. I set the decoys up. Next thing you know, I look out in the field. Every bird is roosted all around us. And it was like Planet of the Apes when they're all looking down and staring. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, don't move.
Yeah.
They fly down. They do whatever they do out there. We had 2 toms and 3 hens sneak up behind us. And the next thing you know, we hear Tom like way out behind us. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's like, it's no chance it's coming this way. Next thing you know, closer, and it hangs up a little bit. And in the video, you can hear me tell Brandon, hey, scratch the leaves a little bit. And Brandon's like, why? Like, I'm not going to have him hear us over here. I'm like, just scratch the leaves a little bit. Next thing you know, that bird, you can see him moving through. Even a chipmunk's runs through in front of him. And just like the leaves are, I mean, that shot gobble, but like the leaf scratching is a lethal thing in my opinion. It's crazy.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I'll show you the video after we're done here. It's nuts.
And like if you have a bird that's hung up, I've seen this too happen many times. So you'll have, and they're without, you're gonna have to be sneaky about it. But if there's 2 of you, so
drop back.
One of you guys drop back and start calling, and now he's like, oh, she's not interested in me, because like we've talked before, the whole process of the turkey breeding is the Tom sits out there, he gobbles, and the hens come to him.
Right.
So as a turkey hunter, you're trying to reverse that, and you're trying to say, I'm not that into you. And then he's like, wait a second, you're not that into me. What's going on? Right. And so then he, as you walking away or crawling away and calling, he's like, well, I got to go find what's going on? And then he walks right into the shooter.
That's, but the crawl back though, I feel you got to be kind of cautious on the noise that you're making with that too.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing that hurts turkey hunters, I feel like, and it's so easy to do, is the overcalling aspect of it all. The best way to explain it is make sure that bird stays curious in you. Don't overcall. Like, I don't care if he gobbles 100 times, doesn't mean you have to call back to him. Yeah. Let him figure it out. Don't let him pinpoint you.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, that's just like that bird when I was hunting with you that day. He sat out there, and I didn't make a noise until he started to become disinterested. Yeah, he turned, and he started to walk away, and I just gave him a couple soft clucks and yelps, and he spun back around, and he stood there for another 5 or so minutes. And then those other 2 or 3 fired off behind us, and then he was like, oh,
I think
better
that
make
helped
move.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I need to go seal this deal, because I don't know. It was
a weird kind of morning.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things, but that was the first time I've encountered that. It's like he almost fell asleep out there standing in that rain.
The weird part about, I shouldn't say it's weird. It was almost, the only reason why I understand it is because of the pressure that gets on that piece.
Oh.
And I don't want to say it's a lot of pressure, but with that being the same piece that Fonzie shot his and that other guy was there, they had that other blind set up over there, and who knows what else is going on over there. Kind of made me understand why he did that. But he was roosted by himself.
Yeah.
So is he the less dominant bird? It's just who knows?
Yeah.
Nobody will know.
Nobody will know.
But
yeah.
I don't know. Fonz, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
We've been talking for a while here.
This boy almost ran 3 hours.
I know. You still got to drive home. Jeez, oh, peace. Might as well buy a hotel room.
It's a great talk, though. It's just great talk.
Yeah. I mean, Paul, like, there's a ton of people in the industry. A ton of good and bad people. But if there's one person that I feel like I can call or understand, or like the person's going to understand and not think I'm full, the word I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, and I honestly look up to you in the way that you hunt a lot. And that's, like I said, when we hunted the turkeys, I'm sitting back and learning, because it's one of those things for me where I look up to you and try to mimic the best people out there to be the best, I guess.
I feel the same way when I met you the first time.
I appreciate that.
Very,
I
very understanding, dude.
I try to do things right. We all make mistakes, but I try to do things right and try to treat people right, and I get burned sometimes by it. And there's been some people that have burned me, because I'm too
nice of a guy.
I try to see through people, but
the same thing.
And so you get burned by it, but in the end, it all comes, the cream will rise to the top.
That's one of the biggest things for me. It's like, why do I keep on doing this if I keep on getting burned? But it's
Right.
like, to meet people like you and to meet people like Fonzie here, like, that's what keeps you going. The right people are out there. You just got to weed past the people, and
Oh yeah.
very fortunate to be in the same blind with you, goose hunting and turkey hunting this year, and to be able to, witness you going out there shooting a bird and just taking it all in. I mean, it truly means a lot to.
Definitely that bird this year was one of the ones for the. I mean, dude, when I.
The rain or the bird?
The bird, the rain, the whole situation. Like, so I'm sitting there, and it was raining cats and dogs that day.
It was bad.
And so my leg was.
People don't understand, man.
So my leg was like this. And I was sitting here, and the bird come in like this. And so I didn't realize how wet I was until that bird come in, and I had to bring my knee up, and I just went sloosh right into my boot. And I was like, oh.
and then we needed to take a kayak across the field to get back to the truck because it was so wet.
And so when I put my knee up to put my gun on it, and I'm holding it there, and all I can
sliding
hear,
off.
Yeah, and it's just now everything's just poured into it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the morning it was like sloosh, 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 sloosh.
We should have had at least 2 to 3 birds down that morning too.
But yeah, and then we got on that other one, and just bad communication, I guess, or whatever it was with that one. And,
whatever it was. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
And but yeah, it was great. I mean, I really admire your guys' passion. Like I said before, it reminds me of what I was doing when I was your guys' age, and it's refreshing to see those type of people like you and Fonz that are doing stuff the right way. And I know it may be hard to get some of these younger kids in there, but if you can get somebody in there and teach them the right way, like we were talking before, get them in there and teach them the right way to do things, I think you're doing a service and a duty to the community, the waterfowl community, the turkey community, those things. So, it may be frustrating at times, but I think it'll all pay off in the end.
100%, man.
I mean, I appreciate that. Truly, it's just the people like you that's who keep us going.
You set a great example for kids guys our age, in our late 20s, early 30s, to see where you're at now and just the knowledge that you have and everything. I think you set a great example, man.
No, I appreciate it. That's what I just try to do. If it's not this, it's coaching, and you
yelling at girls. I see how you are, Paul. I see how you are.
You're just trying to make a positive impact. You never know everybody's story,
right?
And like we were talking before, there's a big screen up, and people put a front on, and some of those people are some of the worst backstories, and the home lives and stuff like that. And so, coaching, like I'm very passionate about sports and baseball or softball or whatever I do, and just to be able to pass that knowledge along, and also kind of help those kids through that stuff, because it's tough, man. It's tough being a kid in today's society. It really is.
I can totally, I agree with that.
And in today's society, there's a lot of families that don't have 2 parents at home.
It's not like it used to be.
No, and so you feel bad for some of these kids because you see the situation they're in, and you feel like, man, I need to. You're there sometimes for them, more for a coach.
The hardest part is just understanding that you can't fix it all, and that's what sucks about it. You know what I mean? Like, just this podcast alone, we try to, my biggest thing is if I can reach, say there's 1,000 people tuning in, if I can reach just 5 of them and they understand wherever they are in the world, but I can help even just one of them, I'm making some sort of an impact
some
towards
sort of progress,
and that's my biggest thing. Whether they pick up off the turkey or the waterfowl, whatever it may be. But like I said before, like going from talking to you and branching that knowledge off, and seeing the passion and everything, it helps us keep going with it all.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate you coming in today, taking the trip, going through that 75 traffic. And
dude, they have every which direction coming into Detroit tore up.
It's a nightmare.
It is literally.
So I got to drive that every day now. I mean, it's not terrible in the mornings, but the afternoons, man, it sucks.
Oh yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah, because you're going downtown from.
Yeah.
It's
not fun, and the way that people drive down there, I'm not used to. I'm used to dirt roads. I'm not used to concrete everywhere.
And it's a full moon, so that's a good.
That's even worse. That's even worse. But no, Paul, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the third time coming in.
Yeah, anytime.
And Glenn,
We'll have to get him in here.
Glenn will maybe hopefully come in. I mean, who knows at this point?
You know, he's so busy with the kids right now. You know, he's
Yeah.
got 2 kids under 3.
Oh,
you know,
that's a lot.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot for him and and his wife. You know, so
you don't got to be that nice to him, though.
No, I know, but at the same time, there's a backstory behind it. It's not
Yeah.
just everything, but he, so it's a hard for his wife and him to get the kids to sleep and everything. So, if we could do one earlier or on the weekend or something, that'd definitely get him in. Or we can do one live at Bay City or something. I don't know.
What I need to do is what we need to do is go to the shop one day.
Because the shop's in Troy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just over there.
Yeah, it's
I'm-
Rochester Road and
And I'm up there. I'm up there almost every other day.
One of these
Rochester Road and
days-
75.
I'm gonna have to pop in there.
I'll have to bring a change of clothes because you'll probably make fun of me for my work uniform. But
I've seen you guys. I've seen.
I've seen you guys.
No, I used to have to deliver to the hospital there. So I've seen.
yeah, so you probably make fun of me again. I understand. Whatever.
It's not the
be
most
that bully.
flattering uniform.
I know. It's not good. I hated it. But maybe one of these days after work
Yeah.
or something, we'll just have to run over to the shop and
100%.
figure out a day where Glenn can finally get on and not make fun of me for having you on for the second and third time. We got him good the second time he was on.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I started smelling it after a while. I'm like, oh, whatever. Glenn's whatever.
Glenn called me. He's like, hey, dude, I know Paul's already been on one time.
Yeah.
So text him and say, I'm green with these guys, too. Like, I don't know these guys like this. And especially Glenn. Like, I knew Paul but a little bit, but not Glenn. Glenn's like, hey, text Paul and tell him, like, I don't know if we should do 2 because I don't know the views and this, that, and the other. And,
Oh my.
let's just hold off for now. So I texted Paul that, and I'm, like, sweating bullets driving back home from Scout. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on right now, man. Like, I'm going to get into some shit here.
Yeah.
And Paul, like, was like, all right, man, yeah, I understand. Like, I could just feel, like, at first
Oh, I knew it was Glenn. I knew it was Glenn behind the whole time. So
I felt so bad, dude. I finally had to tell Paul. I was like,
Yeah.
listen, man, I'm sorry. Glenn put me up
put
to
me
this.
up
Dude,
to
it was so
this.
bad. It was so bad.
I'm excited for that Rumbler call, dude.
yeah, it's a sweet call.
I would shout out GK, but I don't have a GK call.
You're
so I don't
going to be
wanna
ripping GK.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
will
rolling
be.
with us, you're repping GK.
So fresh into it, I'm gonna get that Rumbler on my lanyard. It sounds like a great midway call. And
Yeah. Are you guys headed up to Bay City this year?
Yeah, so every year we've been trying to, and that's the thing where I got to get in contact with you and Glenn because we were thinking about running a booth or even if we just help out the GK booth and then putting some apparel out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just something on the side but I know that's closer to you guys, so it's, it's obviously more.
No, I don't think that would be an issue.
But, because my cousin lives like 2 miles away from that place, so it's like,
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's just right off the Cacawan River.
Oh,
So it's right
Yeah.
there.
Sweet.
But Paul, again, I appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. Thanks for everybody.
if you don't mind, like I said, just follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Like I said, I'll be hopefully booking hunts this fall. Just waiting on the paperwork. If you're ready to fish right now, get a hold of my brother at Waltercation Outdoor Sportfishing.com
She'll be on
on
soon.
Facebook. Yeah, he'll be here soon. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it's I appreciate it every single time you've came in, all 17 times so far. No,
It'd just be like a recurring guest.
yeah, exactly. Every other weekend,
Like Saturday Night
Paul's coming
Live.
in.
It's
Right. Yep. We're gonna have a guide section. It's gonna be Paul's section.
We're just gonna have a fat head in here of Paul, so he's in like every frame
Walking
of-
back with a goose and an action shot. Hell
there
yeah.
we go.
There we go. That's the next canvas I'll bring in.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Fat head. I like the fat
exactly.
head idea.
Oh man, just a face shot. That would be
Yeah.
good too. Yeah, I don't know about that face,
Like
but a different
blue
face.
steel, like from.
Oh God.
But I appreciate everybody tuning in this week. Paul, thank you again.
Yep, no problem.
And
Glad to be here.
Fawn, appreciate you spending this night, even though the cup game is on right now.
No, we're
Did
good.
we have an update?
I think they're done. They won.
Woohoo.
I think the Oilers won. So we know we got Game 7 coming up.
Oh, then
Yeah, so we're good.
be it. Whatever. But until next time, everybody, we'll see you guys.